Ladies and gentlemen, it's the biggest Plat Chat episode of the year. Episode 174. The annual Overwatch League season rankings. I'm pumped. That's all. I am very excited.
I can't see. I can't see Johnny.
Still can't see anybody.
Can't see anybody.
Can't see anybody.
Only see Johnny.
We did. We told you. We literally told you, and then you're like,
there we go. You can see us now. Okay. Okay. Everyone can
Nice.
see. The stream can see everybody. Okay, we're good.
Wait, hang on. I still can't see. Wait. Sorry, now I can see. My bad. I thought I was still hanging out by the pool. My bad.
We got a funny guy. We got a funny guy. How was your vacation, AVRL? You were out.
Not as good as Scott's apparently, because he's fucking wiped out. So
Yeah.
apparently not as good as his.
All right. We gotta figure that out first. Okay. First of all, to people who were early in the chat, okay, there was a missing figure being Scott, who was in the thumbnail originally. Well, blame me, okay? There's no drama here. Blame me. I didn't tag everybody. I didn't get people prepped. I didn't make sure they could be on the show. So Custa's just a bit MIA. We don't know where he is. He was at Coachella. Probably had a great time, all right? He's resting up a little bit. So Custa not here. I assumed he'd be here,
Johnny,
but the fault's on me. I'm a bad organizer.
I think you should stop apologizing and instigate some drama.
Fuck Scott
Because if there isn't drama, we should start.
Show up for us, his friends.
I mean, those are the rules, though. The rules are you generally say like a day or of the day of at least, being like, hey, I don't think I can make. You know?
Well, I didn't ask if you could make it in the first place, so that's why it's on me.
But it was kind of just, it's generally assumed, you know, if you're showing up or not, right? That's generally like, because that's the general rotation, right?
Well, not necessarily. I don't blame him for not assuming.
I blame him, and when I see him at Coachella, because I'll be going to Coachella obviously very soon. For the next one, I'll take him out.
Blame me.
Take him out then.
Blame me. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I want to just blame it all on me. I'll keep it together. I'll take the blame. It's all good, fam. I'm keeping the group together. Only good feelings.
I appreciate that Connor really leaned into the instigating drama.
Yeah, I'll fucking take him out. I'll give him some bad weed at Coachella. He'll be like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. I gave you some oregano, Scott. Fucking take that, idiot."
Welcome to America, bitch. Something like that.
Then I'll call the fucking DEA and I'll send you to jail too. That's
for smoking.
I think it's illegal. I think it's not only is it not weed, but it's also legal in California.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Thank you for.
Oh, I fucked up my camera. Wait, I can fix it.
No.
This is Connor's evil arc. You know, he's leaning into it real hard.
What happened?
Did
you press a button?
There we go. Okay, that looks good.
There we go.
All right.
Oh yeah, I accidentally. I thought it was out of focus, but I realized it's just the quality of the call right now.
Oh yeah, I don't know. My internet's been shitting the bed. I hope this episode is smoother and cleaner than the previous 2 weeks, so we don't actually lag out. Thank you for stepping in, AVRL, by the way. I just asked AVRL on the fly, just like, hey, can you jump on Plat Chat? And you just answered the call like Batman. Like I just lit up.
I was about to go to bed, and I was like, I better answer the call, you know.
Wow.
I'm like the Reinhardt cinematic, you know. Like I'm like the Ryan short dude. Is when the call happened, but when the Ryan Force calls, I got to answer, dude.
Oh, okay. When the Ryan,
OCE member.
See what I did there?
I
also, by the way, I just looked at the topic list, and now I know why I'm on here instead of Scott, because we're talking about most valuable player for the season.
Time for you to set the narrative again.
Okay, that's for the end of the episode. That's for the end of the episode.
That's actually why you got me to come in. You got to get the guy who knows who the MVP is to come and talk about it.
Oh, true. Yeah,
Very true, actually.
Yeah.
No, it's not the guy that knows. It's the guy that decides that.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Was anyone wrong when it came to MVP last year?
Maybe me, potentially.
Did someone say that it was not going to be proper last year?
I think it might have been me. Because because I was expecting the rain. Did I say Hawk? I almost thought I think I might have said Hawk at the beginning of last year. I'm not sure though.
Ridiculous. So probably yes.
It's not. It wasn't ridiculous because like the rain but I don't remember if that's what I said. I can't remember exactly what I said last year at this point. I need someone to fact check myself because I don't know what I.
If you predicted a tank to win MVP, you are crazy.
No, that's not crazy because like it was the first year of Overwatch 2, and I was expecting like a hyper flexible like tank to be like the star focus of it, and be like, okay, well, what's like a really high mechanic. So I think I might have said Hawk from the beginning of last year, but I can't remember.
You want to get really into the lore? Like pre-season, I actually said Hanbin, but this is because I didn't expect I was on the trend like you can't give the same guy Rookie of the Year and MVP. So it's like Prop will get Rookie of the Year, and then somebody else will get MVP was like my train of thought. And then throughout the season, I'm like, okay, no, Prop is probably going to be MVP as well. This is too much.
Yeah. yeah,
It's
it's
still good. Like, you couldn't like deny that.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting this year, though. We'll get to that conversation later. But there's plenty of candidates this year for MVP, and as we get into the season rankings, I've been cooking. Okay, mostly Kurt. Mostly Kurt's been cooking, but I've been cooking too. So I basically.
Oh, you got Kurt to make you something?
No, Kurt has the Valorant power rankings thing. So I essentially copied the template and I just made it purple, and then I made the teams.
That's what we need to do. We need to just copy. We need to copy just assets from the Valorant podcast and just like import them to do.
Yeah. So the thing is, Kurt knows Photoshop or Photoshop adjacent software. I do not. So sometimes I'll just load up like Photoshop files and I'll be like, what the fuck has Kurt been cooking? Like, I don't understand. These two layers are like linked together. They have like some color balance configuration, and like, how do you attach this layer to this other thing? I don't get it. Okay. So I tried to cook, and this is the best I could cook up with. Some people might notice that the Seoul Infernal logo is the only one who's actually colored. Don't ask me about that, okay? That's just how it is. That's how it be. There might be different font sizes. Things might be off-center, okay? Moral of the story is, overall,
Johnny,
it's pretty good.
Johnny, it has to be colored, because if the Infernal logo doesn't have color, you'll mistake it for the Vancouver logo.
Yeah, it's kind of true. You ain't wrong.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's like when the hero designers make a new hero, and they're like, well, we can't make a second Diva character because you'll have two mechs, you know? The silhouettes are too similar. How are you to distinguish whether it's Diva or this other? So it's the same thing. Soul Infernal and Vancouver Titans, they're the same thing. All right, this is going to be a long episode, so I suggest we just go into it. Has everyone done their homework? Has everyone already established their top 20?
Well, I just got here. I don't know.
Your excuse.
No,
I have not. I literally never do my homework for things like this because I want it to be in the moment. I just want to be feeling. I want it to be off my thoughts.
So I'm the only one who has done like pages, pages.
Also, the homework's irrelevant for half this list anyways because we haven't seen them. We don't even know what the rosters are for a lot of the APAC teams.
Well, yeah. So I guess we're just leaving Chengdu out of it because Chengdu doesn't have a roster, so I don't know what.
No, you don't get it. You don't get it. Kilo's on Chengdu. Kilo's on Chengdu, and he's going to be MVP.
Okay.
So true.
Because we have to do the rankings this week. So a lot of the teams have 5 players, but they're supposed to have 6. So we're going to get into the conversation a lot about these teams and be like, well, they're short-handed. They don't have flexibility. They're missing a tank. They're missing a support. They're missing a damage. And they might just add it in like 2 days, and we'll have no idea. So this is going to be the definition of scuffed, okay? If previous iterations of this season rankings was scuffed, this is going to be even more scuffed because we literally don't even have all the information. So
I mean, also on top of that, most of the teams from the sound of it, especially in APAC, but even in A, like they have a lot of them have like a 5-man rosters without an announced 6-man, and it sounds like the current norm is just it's all player coaches. So there are no 6 players for a lot of the rosters.
Really?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Only 3 teams.
Right. I mean, right now here are teams that have 5
Titans,
players.
Eternal,
Soul. Yeah, and then obviously Dynasty also only has 5 right now.
Oh, Fuel,
you should count the number of teams that don't have 5, which is just Spark and Dragons.
Yeah.
Who have 6.
Yeah.
And the other teams only have 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charge, like they supposed to Charge. Wait, did Charge announce a roster finally? I can't remember.
It's the same team.
They did. Yeah, that's right. I saw
did.
it. Yeah, it's the same team. Yeah. Same team. Okay.
Also, we don't know a ton about coaches because some teams haven't announced coaches. For example, New York. I guess we're assuming that Chang'un is coaching New York.
Oh, the GOAT.
The GOAT.
We don't.
Goon squad.
No.
Goon is correct. Right.
So,
that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be fucked, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit scuffed, but we'll have lots of fun. We'll make fun content, and everyone will enjoy it, and we'll say some absurd shit, and then people will quote us for it in like 4 months, and it's gonna be great. Okay, so let's just get into it. Actually, after going through my list, the first few teams are actually the easiest, because when we get to the top 10, it's like absurd. So let's just get into it. Number 20. Let's just put Vegas on the board,
Hunters.
shall we?
Yeah. I
what about Chengdu?
No, we can't put Chengdu. I don't. It depends on what we're gonna do with.
Oh, true.
Also,
true.
why is there no 19?
There's no 19 or 17.
There's no 19 or 17 on this one.
Wait
You've
a
got
second.
a double.
Wait.
You've doubled up on 9. You've doubled up on 10.
What happened?
When Johnny said it was scuffed, he
Wait
wasn't
a
kidding.
second. Wait
No,
a second.
Change that back to 9.
This
and then 10,
is
and then
17.
you've
This
just
is
fucked up the
17.
right.
This is 17.
No, it's not. It's
What do
not.
you mean
shit.
17?
No, go back. That's 9 and 10.
That's
and then the
1, 2,
right
3,
hand
4, 5,
list
6, 7, 8,
is 11,
9, 10.
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're having some technical difficulties on the.
Oh my god, dude.
Wait, so this is. Wait. Oh, fuck.
Left list
I see what
is
you've done.
Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then
Okay.
11 on the other one. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay, just hold on 1 second, okay? Because we have an additional issue here where I actually have my numbers on OBS are keybinds for scenes. So I can't actually fix the numbers because then I'll change scenes. So give me a second here. Give me a second and I'll sort this out, okay?
Oh, this is going well.
Shut up. Okay, so there we go. We got 9, 10. Oh, fuck. Am I gonna have to go through all of these? Jesus Christ. Okay, here. Use numpad? Who the fuck has a numpad in the 2023?
Honestly,
Who
that is.
doesn't have a
A lot of people have numpads that aren't gamers. I feel like only gamers are the ones with the 10 keyless keyboards. You know?
How else am I going to punch in my numbers in the calculator quickly?
Okay,
That's true.
Jesus
I used
Christ.
to be a fucking wizard with that fucking numpad, just saying, Jesus. Because I used to want to, when I used to work at a game station and game all the time, I was like, I still remember my like login code as well, just through 7 years of working on the tills.
You guys hear the mayhem screaming in my mic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they are screaming right now.
What is this?
so.
You're in the Misfit stream room? I was going to ask you about
I'm
that.
in one of our
You're
stream rooms
in
that
a
are also
different
sort of
location.
offices. Yeah, I have to. I'm
What I'm
in
used to.
the office right now, so it's gonna be a combo. We'll be doing it from this, getting some free product placement for the Republic of Gamers.
Yeah, Republic of Gamers.
Getting some free product placement there.
You
For
should
them.
blur that out in post, Johnny. You should edit
Yeah.
that all up, so
We
blur
should
it out
put
in
it-
post.
Edit out in
Blur it out.
post? Do you think
It's
we
not
have
it's like
fucking
no
posts?
free no
You
free.
think we
Dude, I have a
posts?
solution.
No
Okay,
free
there you go.
road
Connor,
There you
just
go.
hit the button that makes you go big again, and then it removes the logo.
Oh, that's true. That's
You
true.
fixed it. Let's go.
Okay, now we have a functioning list. So personally, here's the thing. I don't even think we should put Chengdu. Well, I
Just put
don't.
them at 20.
I don't think you should put them on the ranking because they
Oh,
don't
okay,
know
fine.
how can we
Just
rank?
leave them off.
We haven't seen
So do
them
you wanna-
or know the roster.
You want to start Vegas at 19 then, or what?
No, I think Vegas should still be 20. I just think maybe we
There-
have
yeah.
a gap.
Honestly,
Wait a minute. What does that mean?
So yeah, I get the reasoning because there's no possible universe where Chengdu is actually worse than Vegas.
I just don't see how Chengdu, whatever they
you putting
they would
Chengdu
have to
19
do
then?
something fucking deranged. I mean, sure, you know what? Fuck it. If you want to put Chengdu 19, yeah, but we don't. That's not even a real
So
ranking
good.
because they could be
Put
better.
Chengdu at 20 because we don't know, and then put Vegas at 19.
It would be
'Cause
so sad
Otherwise,
to
you're
put a
leaving
team-
gap and like, yeah.
It would be so sad to have a team that doesn't even have a roster above Vegas who does have a roster.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
they deserve it.
So sad.
Let's be fair. Let's
It'll be like
fair.
the University of Waterloo thing, or whatever it's called.
Yes.
Oh, that's.
that was a very.
I feel
fun
bad for them
taste.
though. I feel bad for
Oh
them.
my. This,
I mean-
this feels dishonest.
Why?
What if we just
Why?
What if we just rank them
Oh,
1 through?
shit.
What if we just the 20 was a spot and then the night? So like we left 20
Yeah.
as a free.
Take
So we do
Chengdu
1 through
out. Put
19.
Vegas at 19.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Like,
that. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
let's just put Vegas at 19 because Chengdu should
Yes.
not go below Vegas on the graphic, even if it's symbolic, because it's offensive.
Exactly.
Okay. So wait, what did you decide? Put Vegas 19.
Vegas at 19,
Vegas 19.
and just leave Chengdu out because they don't have a roster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can
Just put
Sit here.
them over there. Yeah, put them down there. They can
stop
spectate.
micromanaging me, Jaws. I'm trying.
I will actually.
Let's go.
Like,
Vegas
I'll
not
go
last.
for it
Let's
now.
go. Woo.
Oh jeez. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, no huge takes to be had here on Vegas. I think we've been criticizing Vegas pretty much all of season, especially me. I mean, I think it's incredibly surprising that they've actually decided to bring back the roster from last year. There are tons of questions here. There's been rumors that they're going to sign Rhino to this roster, for example, to round it out. Those rumors haven't been confirmed yet. There's some upside with like Dove and Lukemino, perhaps, that we like. Malthel doesn't look like an Overwatch League caliber player, to be honest with you. And yeah.
Yeah, the team's bad. Seems real bad. I mean, the team literally looks so bad that I don't even have any like I don't have any input to be had. Like they in Pro-Am they were so tragic. I was like, I don't even know what I'm watching. Like it was actually so disgustingly bad. And like I actually, and the thing is, I think there are some individual players on that team that are not bad. I think there are players that like because that's happened in the past for teams where it's occurred. Like I actually have, but you know, overall, like I'm just like, it's so disgustingly bad that I just can't put them anywhere else right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those teams we don't really have to have a huge conversation about. Jaws, AVRL, I don't know if you have input, but
Who's joining? Is Rhino? Was he rumored or what?
Rumored, yeah. I mean, extensively to the point where, like, I think someone leaked that he was like in their Discord or something.
I think Luke Mino literally leaked from Discord. He's turning the franchise around, baby. Rhino's turning it around. He's turning that ship around.
I mean, he's a good player, to be fair. Like, he's actually pretty damn good. So
yeah, but I mean, like Reiner wouldn't.
Will it turn the team around? Probably.
Wait, like, are we joking? Wait, the actual leak is that Reiner's going to Vegas? Is that a leak?
That's Rhino.
It was on
Rhino.
Oh, Rhino. I was going to say Reiner. I was like, okay, Rhino. Rhino. Yeah,
Rhino.
that.
Yes.
I don't think that makes it that much better for me.
It doesn't.
It's a small addition, but like
it's a small. I mean, it's an improvement.
Yeah, he is a good player.
Sure.
Though. Like, it's a small improvement for sure.
For nothing
I think,
other than the fact that they have more versatility as a tank lineup, which would
yeah,
help.
I mean, like, I think that gives them a chance to potentially, like, they could maybe beat the Valiant, maybe. Like, they could theoretically have enough flexibility to where they could have some games against the Valiant now. But
yeah,
I don't know.
AVRL?
I think based on what we saw from Pro-Am, it's fair to say they're last at the moment. That's the most fair ranking. I think they would even look. I mean, look at those results. You just, where else are you going to put them, right? I'm trying to be nice here, but it's, you know, because I don't like dogpiling on teams. I feel like there was a lot of dogpiling on, for example, Justice last year. So I'm like, I don't want to dogpile too hard on Vegas. But yeah, they fair enough. I think they are last right now.
I'm dogpiling. Fuck this team. They're not going to do great.
I don't. But once again,
Villain arc, let's go.
It's not, but it's not the fault. But once again, this is not like when I dogpile, I'm dogpiling on like how the roster was constructed and like from the org's perspective. Like I said, I think there are some pretty solid individual players that like on different systems could have success. I just think in this combination, it's like you've put them all together and you've created the vilest team ever. You've created just like, it's just the stinkiest, nastiest poo-poo dog. So, but like the components of it are not that. Like, you know, it's just once they went through the lower intestine, the small intestine that was the Vegas Eternal, it became poo. But before that, it was a beautiful medley of food and good players.
This Vegas Eternal versus 2021 Valiant.
Dude, honestly, I don't even know.
Wow.
Because 2021 Valiant had D on it, right?
No, that's last year's Valiant had D. That's not.
Okay, what was 20? I'm trying to remember 2021's.
Silver 3, Milan Run, 3, those guys.
Yes.
They had, yeah, but like, who was their? Yeah, they had Milan. They had like they had some okay.
Milan Run,
Crystal,
yeah.
Remember Crystal was on that team?
Yeah.
Crystal, yeah. Milan Run was good.
They had some okay. I mean, like honestly though, that would be the toilet bowl for the ages.
6v5. That's right.
That would be bad. I mean, I don't even know. I kind of just want to give it to Valiant, the 2021 Valiant still, but I honestly I'm unsure. I'm unsure because also they were like
that just doesn't feel right. I mean,
they were in a weaker APAC region too than NA.
Yeah.
They were part of the weakness. You're saying they were in a weaker region, like
yeah, but they were the worst of the weaker region. So like, you know, I'm like, I would probably.
You're essentially saying that Vegas would be the worst team of all time in the league, and I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that Vegas could beat the Valiant. Is what I'm saying. Now that I think about 2021 Valiant, is what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think they could.
We're 20 minutes into the episode. We've already spent enough time on Vegas. I mean, look.
Yeah, let's move the.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Let's talk now about Carmine Core and Valorant and how they compare to Shanghai Dragon.
Jesus Christ. I'll say it again, just so it gets said, so we don't have to have this conversation throughout the entire episode. Nothing against the players, no hate against the players, but we're making a competitive rankings and we're making predictions competitively, and I don't think these guys are good enough to compete with the other teams in the league, and I think they're straight up like diffed, like all the way. So that's why Vegas number 19, don't like the roster, nothing against the players. There you go. Moving on. Next up, I propose the Los Angeles Valiant for number 18. I think there's some glaring weaknesses with this team, but also some good things about this team. First of all, more than ever, I think that I value coaching structure and like infrastructure with your team. These guys have Paintbrush as their social media manager, their team manager, their coach, and their substitution. They have no
And he has a
infrastructure.
full-time
Team
job.
cook.
And he has a
He's
full-time
also
job.
working
And he has
another
a full-time
job.
job.
Wait, is that actually true? I thought he
That's
actually.
yeah.
like,
I mean, it's a root.
Yes.
It's a root. It's confirmed.
I'm pretty sure he
Or not
denied that.
confirmed. No, I don't
It's-
think it. I don't,
It's
I
pretty
think,
damn confirmed.
I don't know
like-
for certain, but everyone's saying it, and to me, it's funnier just to put out. Like, I'm joining the side of misinformation on the side, the war against misinformation on the side of misinformation. So I think it would be funnier if he is.
Okay.
Even if he's not.
Because I'm pretty sure he does not, in fact, have a full-time job. But, you know, he can come out and state that.
He's got
He's
two
denied.
part-time jobs, Valiant and whatever else he does.
I mean, that comes
Two
up.
part-time
into-
jobs.
I was told he went to school and he learned how to code. Actually, he literally did the Reddit learn how to code.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have a second job. But besides that, even, there are a few good things with this roster. Seeker, for example. Seeker is a really good hitscan player.
Yeah.
Can, you know, go head-to-head with some of the better hitscan players in the entire league. Krawi as well. Looked really bad on Vegas last year, but I think he has some good moments on Wisp, for example, and a few standouts here. Show that he can, you know, knows how to win games, but their tank versatility is also a bit questionable. I just don't think the team is good enough when you compare it to the other ones in the region. So I propose the Valiant for number 18 here, guys. What do you guys think?
I
trying to
don't
think
know
of-
Yeah.
if I could
Well,
argue
I-
against that, to be very
The only other
honest.
team I was like, oh, what about New York? But then I look at the roster and I think I believe the New York roster a bit more just off
Creative
play quality alone.
and fits, Shockwave.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing
yeah.
because
And also,
of
Lep's
those
been
names.
been pretty decent. Lep's had some good moments
Lep's
too.
been okay,
Like,
yeah.
So
I
so
would say Valiant makes the most sense.
I agree with Valiant 18 just because I think New York's better.
I can't
paper.
think of it like it's only them or New York that are competing for that spot because I don't think any of the APAC teams are quite bad. Like I think we're getting close to where we can start putting some potential APAC teams.
You
Yeah,
Really?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, hey, hang on. Let's get through these ones first.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay.
try. I'm gonna try.
Look,
These
I
are
was
the
gonna
easiest
say-
ones.
I was gonna say maybe New York after Valiant.
No, I think it
It's
should probably. I
17.
think I think it should. Like realistically, it should probably be New York. If I'm really
Yes,
thinking
I
of
think
it.
New York.
It
What is
should
the
be New York.
other? Are you thinking maybe Charge here?
I was like the
fighting for
only
that
one
spot?
that pops up was like Charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll rattle off a few
Really?
teams that I think we should have a conversation here about. New York Excelsior, Guangzhou
Yep.
Charge, and I think at some point we need to start playing with the idea of putting Shanghai Dragons down here.
See, I mean, honestly, I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking about that too.
Ooh,
Because,
I
like,
don't know.
really, because honestly, when I think of the cohesiveness of the roster, Charge makes more sense as a roster than Dragons.
I'm
Like,
gonna bring
the
someone up real
roles
quick.
make sense.
I agree with you. There's more upside with Dragons, but
And they have
Charge,
good players. They have Xerneas,
has
they got
a roster.
Faraway, Chosewan, Jimmy even
Guys,
has,
guys.
Yep. What's up,
Well,
Avro?
the end of the last stage, Countdown Cup, Charge went 4-2, and I believe I don't have the rankings of where that actually put them, but they were one of the better teams
They
at the
did
end
have a
of Countdown
turnaround.
Cup.
They did have a
They
turnaround. That's true.
because you don't get like I don't know. I was gonna say charge pill. That wouldn't make sense. Like
No,
basically, don't get baited by the fact that in the first two stages they sucked, because in the last two stages they turned it the fuck around. Like this team actually showed some real promise. They just ran out of games to play. That was it.
What if I'm okay to put New York next? I think.
Yep.
I think I'm okay.
I
to
think
put
New York.
next.
I think New York.
Yeah. There
Like,
are
I'm
a
happy
few...
to put
Yeah, go on.
at some point charge can come in, but for now I think New York for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the scoring system is not perfect. It says power rankings, by the way. These are season rankings, just to make that clarified, because people don't know the difference. But, you know, ultimately when the scoring comes around after the end of the season, it will be how many wins did each team get, and, you know, what are their, like, league records, stuff like that. The APAC region seems like it will be pretty competitive, and there will be a lot of teams trading wins, even like the bottom tier. So historically, it's always been Valiant and Charge in the bottom of the APAC region. This year, it really feels like all these APAC teams can compete with another, whereas the Western region, there are going to be some teams like Vegas, Valiant, and now we're bringing up New York as well, that will have a very hard time, in my opinion, to like get more than a few wins. So I think New York is a good shout here, because I think Guangzhou can compete with the other teams here. So New York Excelsior, few glaring issues here. Starting off, they haven't announced a coach. The rumor seems to be that it's Changgun, but we have no idea. They have Kellan as their solo tank. They're running it back with Kellan as their solo tank, who is a good Winston. But there are some compositions, like their Winston comp, for example, and they have everybody out, you know, fits, creative, stuff like that. And you're like, wow, this is a pretty good roster. But the versatility is not really there for the New York Excelsior. The backline, I think it's solid with Lep and Creative. But when you compare New York Excelsior, I mean, they lost to Twisted Minds, right? Like, they're just out of their depth a little bit here. And there's a few glaring weaknesses with this team compared to the other Western region teams. Feels like.
I will say, when they did play and the substitutions that they made map to map, it did make sense.
It did.
And it did look like they had a game plan per map and like with comps and everything like that. So I think there's at least a little bit of hopium there.
What do you, there's only one sub they made. It was just Shockwave or Fit.
And also, a lot of the time, people were like, why is Fits and Shockwave not being played?
But I don't even think that
was the big question mark. But dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like Psycho did look kind of clean sometimes.
On the May, the Psycho. But
the Psycho May.
Do you think?
Nice.
I don't understand what do you mean? It made sense when they took out Fits on hit scan to play Shockwave on hit scan?
I would say it had more of a plan than most other fucking teams that went in.
Well, yeah, there's only one piece to move, but
damn.
yeah.
But still, like,
sure.
I know because you have reservations about the coaching staff and stuff, but there's at least some sort of like, some sort of motherfucker there behind the scenes.
Some sort of motherfucker there.
Yeah, there's someone there. So, you know, the coaching point, you know, there's some merit to that because it's not been announced, but it does seem like they have backroom staff that kind of know what they're doing. I don't think something fits out all the time is a good thing, but when they did have Shockwave and Psycho in, like, the games didn't look tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twisted Minds played
still
pretty well.
Be moved. I just want to add in some like little positivity there.
Yeah. New York, when they play their most optimal meta, when they play their best composition with Fitz, Shockwave, and Kellanin, they could look really good, and they could take some maps and even series of some of these best teams. But I'm really skeptical about the versatility, and you know, they're just missing a few things to be a competitive Western region team, in my opinion. So we seem to be all in agreement with New York here at number 17. Okay.
Can I ask for a rolling checkup real quick?
Yeah.
Referee. Season rankings. That means where we think the team's going to end up at the end of the season.
End of the season, correct. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to change this power rankings thing right now.
I was going to say, it also says power rankings on the graphic. So
yeah, I'm slight modification right now. Slight modification. Yeah, it's season rankings. End of season is all that matters, okay? Week 1, I don't give a fuck, okay? So if you're Florida and you just won the Pro-Am, sorry, I don't care. I care about, you know...
Don't say it too loud. They're scribbling next door.
True.
Exactly.
Well, fight me. I don't care.
They can't hear you.
Come at me.
Headphones.
But
okay.
Yes, it's not about how strong they are going into week 1. It's where you think they will finish record-wise at the end of the season. So, that's why I'm looking at some of these teams. There you go. Fixed it. That's why I'm looking at some of these teams, and I'm like, I don't know how they'll consistently find wins throughout the entire season. So, it's going to be tough. So a lot of these teams, they will find a meta, they will find a stage or whatever we call it now, where they have like really good performances, but can you sustain it through multiple metas? That's the question in my mind. Can you consistently find wins? All right, moving on. New York Excelsior on the board. Okay. Shanghai Dragons, Guangzhou Charge. I'd say not quite there, but Vancouver Titans is lurking slightly above those teams, I'd say.
I think London's lurking. Is that
London, yeah. I was going to say, that's way too...
Okay.
I think the next 2 candidates for this spot, now that I've reflected more, should be the Dragons or London.
No Guangzhou.
Not Charge?
I don't think it should be Charge, actually. No, I don't think it should be Charge. I think Charge should probably go above both those teams right now in my mind's eye.
Why is that?
Because they're proven... because we've seen what they can do with this roster already. They've already... Everybody on this team makes sense. They're all decent players individually.
Yeah.
And unlike the Vegas team, I think this is a decent runner-back situation with their roster.
Like their team,
you're talking about Guangzhou.
Yeah.
Because every argument you just made, London fans are mauling out of control because they went deep in the playoffs.
Hang on. Yeah, I understand that. But then, like... Are they going to do it again? Are they going to just repeat and make magic happen again? You understand, like, a lot of last year as well. I'm going to make them mold harder because this is another one of those narratives they hate. is that this is a Ryan team. They did get away with a lot of Ryan. I know they played a lot less Ryan towards the end.
I think the thing about London is that's a fair point. I think we do underestimate that, like, as the season goes on, because also they looked really bad. They looked bad in comparison to the NA teams because NA is all really leveled up, and London did not level up at all. London remained stagnant. But the question is, like, we never really got to see Charge, like, with this roster really have a long season, like AVRL was talking about. Like, their new roster was pretty good towards the end of the season. It's just they didn't have a lot of time with it, you know? And realistically, when I think about, like, meta flexibility, like, this roster, I would argue this roster has many of the same issues. The fact that, like, Piggy is, like, really good Sigma player. Haven't seen much else from Piggy, from at least on the Overwatch League stage, you know? So I don't know. And while Hottie has at least shown some flexibility across multiple metas here, even if Ryan is by far his best hero. So I mean, they both are they're both kind of locked by a tank for both these teams in my opinion. So then it's like, where do you go from there? Like, and realistically, when we look at the current Overwatch League like metas, it's like you'd prefer, so far at least, you want like a Winston or a Ball. And like, I don't know if Piggy can play.
How about the rest of the teams? How about the rest of the teams? Like Piggy and Hottie aside. Like, I mean,
Sparker versus like Jimmy, I think is a very fair matchup, or Choi. I think like
I'd say Sparker is favor there, but you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
I also disrespect Jimmy on the regular. So
you do disrespect Jimmy. That's fair. You do respect Jimmy. Let me think. Let me think about
Custa's not here to save him. So
I think I would probably take the Charge backline.
I think Xernea's far away better, in my opinion.
Yeah, yes. I think I would take the Charge backline, and then that leaves the DPS line, which is
honestly
Choice at one. So nah, fuck that. Like, because also, I mean, Lethal has been the opposite of that for me so far, from what I've seen, and Backbone is a very much a role player. Backbone's a role player. Like, you know, he's like good what you put him on, and like he's a great component of the team, but he's very much a role player. I think I would honestly probably take I think I might take the Charge roster.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, when you really, I think, dig into the individuals, it's like, fuck, it's hard to rate I'm not saying Charge are winning anything. I'm not saying they're going to be the best team.
But if London get a Ryan meta, they'll go far for sure. They'll definitely have
a Ryan player than a Sigma player.
And also, it's not just a Ryan player. Hottie does play Winston. Hottie does play Ball. Like, Hottie's current tank pool is not bad.
Way more than you can force Sig. Like, it's way better to force Ryan, I think, than it is to force Sig, because you have Backbone May, you've got a decent Lucio player. Like, I think
I might take now. I'm leaning towards the London again now that I think about it. Yeah.
If you want to make an argument for Charge, I think Choice One is the best argument you could bring. If you compare head to head, Choice One to Backbone, I think Choice One clears.
Yeah, I still think Choice One and like their DPS line does just about, because Choice One's super good. Pip, London Spitfire, but just the more flexibility that Spitfire have over the Charge is why I'd lean probably.
The problem with London though is that they're such a hard region, right? Because like theoretically, London could end up with like a worse ranking despite being a better team, simply because they're gonna get pounded by like all the leveled up NA team, while Charge is in a very weak APAC comparatively.
Someone has to lose in APAC. And it's probably going to be Shanghai or Charge.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Charge is like, when I think about the currently announced APAC teams, minus Chengdu, though Chengdu probably will have a nightmare roster if they do get announced. It's like Shanghai, disaster of a roster. I would take Charge. I might take Charge over. God.
The thing is, like, Shanghai, because we've got to bring them into this conversation. It's like, if it's power rankings, I rank Shanghai low, but when you talk about season rankings, there's a believer in me. There's a believer in Moon, and there's a believer that, like...
There is a believer in me, too.
Charge could also be better than Dynasty, like, honestly. I don't think they're necessarily... I kind of rate the Infernal team a bit higher than them right now. But, and, like, obviously...
Actually, you're not wrong. Dynasty...
Yeah, Charge could be better than Dynasty, too.
Dynasty is kind of scraping by without being told.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I disagree with that, but I don't think Charge should be 16. So, or actually, maybe. So here's a few things as well. London Spitfire, they have 3 supports. If we get into a double flex support meta, or you want to lean on that, I much prefer London over Guangzhou Charge. Because as good as Uveltal is on, for example, or Xerneas, sorry, on Lucio, Mercy, stuff like that, I much rather prefer London leaning on Landon and Sky Ripa, for example. And I also have more confidence in the London Spitfire coaching staff. And that was a big reason why they were so successful last year. I think London Spitfire has a bigger chance of like figuring out how to win games, figuring out what strengths there are for the meta, and win some of those games over Guangzhou Charge. I don't have faith in Guangzhou Charge to come into the lobby and play the best composition and give themselves the best chance to win.
Okay, so what if our thoughts are for 16? What about Dragons?
Dude, I think
So the Shanghai
Viper
Dragons,
Heat is actually.
let me just cover the Shanghai Dragons real quick here. Okay, Shanghai Dragons, they only have one tank. It's Fleta.
Letter.
It's Fleta. They have 3 supports. Gangnam Jin, DM, and
Who's on
Bebe.
Lucio? Gangnam Jin's on fucking Lucio. Oh, he's on Lucio again.
Bebe's a player coach, by the way. So
Hey, yeah,
not
Bebe's a
expected to
player
really play.
coach.
Bebe's
He's
a
not
player
even supposed
coach.
to. Yeah,
his
he's not even
DM
really
Gangnam Jin, yeah.
dedicated.
He might play in a double
He might
flexible
play,
meta,
yeah,
but
he
he's
might
not a
play.
starter.
The damage line grew on me when I sat down with my notebook yesterday. Viper
This damage
and
line is
Hisu,
the best part of the team.
Also,
It's
with
the best part of the
Flood,
team.
I mean, yeah, Viper Hisu is like not bad. Viper Hisu's not bad for sure.
Like
So-
one of my guilty pleasures is being a slight Hisu enjoyer. So I'm kind
I've-
of guilty
I've-
about that.
I
a
smoked
huge
the
Hisu
Hisu pack
enjoyer.
on the daily.
But the problem is
So-
that that's still not. They have like there's other good DPS lines in APAC, and their support line. Gangnam Jin's once again on Lucio. I want to rip out my fucking eyes. And then on top of that, DM is his support partner, which isn't like a death sentence because we've seen DPS players make that transition. Like it can work. But then Flood is your fucking tank. So it's like. Yeah. And your alternate for a double flex support meta is a player coach that who knows how active they've been necessarily,
just
right?
like-
So it's
The
I just see the
unprovenness of
potential.
this
I just see the
roster, just no. I disagree.
I don't see the- I see there is a
unprovenness of this
potential-
roster is
no.
crazy. Like I don't see this roster popping the fuck off.
this can't be that like this best chance for this
it
roster
could.
is that's fighting for mid-table APAC, in my
Sure,
opinion.
yeah. Mid-table APAC, I could get down and boogie with
Like
that,
there's
but
a
just no way.
world where I think this Shanghai roster is probably better than Dynasty. Real talk.
Honestly,
Like,
I
we're
mean,
talking
like,
season rankings.
but that's still APAC mid-table. I don't think Dynasty in my eyes is fighting for a mid-table slot too comparatively.
I think Dynasty's a
Void,
weak roster,
tank
personally.
player.
Yeah,
And they still
They're
have
not 16.
Prophet who can 1v5.
They're not 16.
I personally think for safety, based off the roles, it should be Dragons. I don't think we should. I think
You-
when we look at
you
the
have
slot, I
Krillin
think it should be
Lucio.
Dragons.
No,
Two
we're not.
Yeah,
We're not
they're
talking. No,
profit.
we're
But
straight up.
apparently-
I'm
but apparently-
vetoing like Shang.
But Krillin Lucio is
Dynasty conversation
apparently
right now.
But
There's
apparently
no
the
way.
Krillin Lucio has improved significantly. But I don't know exactly what's all with that. But the rest of the roster is like makes sense though. Besides, like the rest of the roster makes sense. They have Prophet. Like the only like they have a dedicated tank player that's really good. They have Prophet, which is obviously like Little P. They have Little P, and Little P's like not bad. I think he's a decent player. And then they have fucking Lee Soo-min, who's a very good prospect coming out of a contenders. Like
I think Seoul Dynasty kind of clears Dragons.
I don't think they clear.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they clear. I'm on the side of AVRL. I think they could be worse, but I think Dragons.
I
Okay,
think
but they're not
Dragons-
16. I'm sorry. There's no way Dynasty are 16.
Seoul is 16.
I'm
No
sorry.
way
They
Seoul
will
is-
win
I think-
games.
I think Dragons should be, but the thing is, remember, I think Dragons should be 16. I think they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
I think it's the
Dragons
most
16.
reasonable. I
It'd
think
be the-
Shanghai Dragons are the most reasonable.
It'd be the safest bet, right? But I had a bit of a gambling thought in my mind. I was like, oh, but I could roll some dice here.
You could. I mean, like, hold on to your take that Dragons
This
was
is-
better than Dynasty, though. Hold on.
Well,
to that
this is one of those teams where like you could high roll this team really hard. Like DM could just randomly be super good. Fleta, as long as he doesn't throw, we don't know what to expect.
Even
I mean,
if Fleta,
we've had-
is really good, you still have a tank that hasn't played tank before ever, and you have Gangnam Jin on Lucio.
If you
Gangnam
just
Jin Lucio is not good.
this simple kind of like thought experiment, okay? You have Shanghai Dragons. They're playing teams like Seoul Dynasty, Guangzhou Charge. In what tank matchup do you think Fleta straight up has the advantage? He's going to be primarily an off-tank oriented hero player.
I mean, currently not anything. Currently 0.
Technically, he could be playing anything. He's a blank slate.
I'm putting it this way. I don't think if they play right now, I don't necessarily think Shanghai are better than Seoul. But when you talk about season rankings at the end of the season, it's just a tiny bit of hopium. But I'll say 16. I'll say 16 to make it easy because I think that's the
it's
safest.
Yeah,
reasonable.
we got to
That's the
move
most
on here. We've spent enough time on 16, but Shanghai at 16 seems the most reasonable to me.
I think I would go after this Dynasty, though.
Dynasty here.
Yeah, I think I would.
I don't even have them on this page of my notebook. Okay, here's the thing. Not Infernal. Oh my god, they're even further down. Seoul Dynasty. Void as their tank. Okay,
Are we
have one
talking
of the
about
best
West
off tanks
teams?
of all time, And
yeah, but he's
Void-
had some hit or miss moments with Justice, and his last years, right?
Void?
So it's like, yeah.
with Justice.
Oh, I'm thinking of Fury. My
Yeah.
bad. Not Void. I'm thinking about no, but also even in his last years, I still think Void, very good off tank player, but we haven't really seen any main tank from him at all. And main tank, like we have.
He played a bit of Winston in the scrims, and I know it was scrims, but I think he made some decent decisions in the scrims. Okay, it looked rough. His Winston looked rougher on the edges, but I saw the potential. I could see him definitely improving on Winston, and then I think you're fine. And also, okay, I think this year, if your strength really lies in like diva comps, I just think Dynasty will just play Void on like his best heroes and just play that playstyle, and then build that roster around him. And I think they'll be fine. Like if you just have Seoul Dynasty playing off tank like Sigma, Diva, these kind of comps throughout most of the year, they'll be fine. Like I don't think they need to be able to play Reinhardt.
Though, because I think the cat, especially with the current strength, obviously we'll see what the live patch happens. But like in this meta, I think if Dynasty had played this meta, I think they would have gotten fucking smashed. Because like the reality is like you can't really force that Doom pick or the Diva pick. You couldn't force either of those picks in this meta. Like they would have gotten crunched. Like, and I think. So because you had to have been playing Winston, or like if you knew, or if you could play Ramatra maybe. If Void had picked up Ramatra, if you got a Ramatra, then maybe actually that's a possibility. But I don't know what the live meta is gonna be, because we have cast nerfs, we've had like Ryan nerfs, we have
we have Weaver as well.
Yeah, Weaver comes in. I don't really know what Weaver's gonna do for the meta necessarily. It's still like a little undecided, but like I don't know. It's tough, because to me, I think when we're fighting for 15 here, I'm looking at Dynasty or London probably, or maybe Charge. Dynasty, London, Charge. I think are the three teams circulating.
Are we like super high in Vancouver or something? Like I feel like no one's brought that team up again.
I think
lurking.
Vancouver's pretty decent. I think Vancouver's
They're hiding.
decent. I don't think Vancouver's that bad. I think Vancouver's decent. Like
I think there are some
gonna be
glaring issues with Vancouver.
I think they're going to be like a mid-table team.
Okay. Another argument I'll bring up for Seoul Dynasty. Last year, people legitimately voted for Toby to be coach of the year because he was that good. This team, Seoul Dynasty, I'm telling you, they will find ways to win games and play their strengths. And I just have such belief in that. Like, compared to some of these other teams, like, I just don't trust them to win games as reliably. Toby's a good coach. They have great players that'll play to their strengths. People are spamming Washington, by the way. I'm pretty high on Washington. I think they'll be fine too. So Washington,
in their Pro-Am debut, they didn't look that bad. Yeah, they should have stuff covered, honestly.
Vancouver could be in the conversation, though. I will say that. But yeah, I mean, I think Guangzhou is lurking around here. I had a Guangzhou on my list.
I think you guys are super low on Guangzhou, personally. Like I have more faith in this Guangzhou team than, for example, Washington.
Okay.
Maybe even Vancouver.
But I mean, the problem I have with the problem with Guangzhou is simply Piggy. For me, it's Piggy.
Yeah, and then you got Punk on Titans. And
Yeah,
Ben
but
Best
Punk's,
Bear in
but
Washington.
Punk's
Punk has
played more main tank.
versatility.
Punk's definitely played a
than
lot more
Piggy
main
does.
tank than Piggy, and has had some good moments on it.
And then they have Aspire too.
And they also have
And Crimson.
Lenny and Sugarfree, who
And
looked
Lenny.
fucking
And
good. He looked
Sugarfree,
good.
yeah.
His debut, he looked really fucking good when he came back. Like
Titans are not.
Titans
as bad
roster
as
is
people
not.
think they are.
Titans roster
Yeah.
is, I think, is a mid-table roster.
It's good.
Okay, so
It's not bad.
Vancouver Titans, they still only have Punk as their solo tank. That being said, Punk is good. Punk's Winston looks good. His off-tank heroes are good. They have a great damage line that can flex and play most things. I'd say the weakness lies in the coaching staff and the back line. As to my knowledge, Vancouver only has they have two coaches, I believe. No, they have one coach. They only have Askoft, who comes in. He was the assistant coach of Boston Uprising last year before Laurie got the boot, and then Askoft took over as the head coach. The backline of Faith and Crimso, I think we can all agree, Crimso has some great moments. His Ana is really good. But Faith's flexibility, playing more than just Lucio Brig. If you get into like double flex comps with this team, I'm starting to have some question marks.
Yeah, double flex is a problem. But actually having a Lucio player is more than some other teams could say. I'm higher maybe than a lot of people on the Titans team, to be honest with you. The sixth man is the sixth man Askoff? Sixth player?
We don't know.
Don't know.
No.
But the current meta for teams, since no one's announcing 6 players for the most part, it seems like the current meta is just all player coaches.
Yeah, which is fair. So if they don't bring any other people, like honestly, I take them over Charge. I think definitely.
Who? Vancouver.
Yeah. Take them over Charge.
It's
I don't know
tough.
if this is like a little bit of recency bias from seeing them play because we haven't seen Charge play. And
No,
I'm,
it's tough. I'm actually undecided on the two because I think both those teams, now that I think about them, are fighting for a solid.
I think we're
mid-table
sleeping on Piggy
roster.
slightly here. I have some belief in there.
Maybe.
Wow.
I'm not.
Maybe.
I don't think I'm sleeping on Piggy. I just think the rest of the roster is really good around him. I think the other components are. I think Piggy's really great on what he's good at, though. Good at what he's good at, but.
Okay, so I'm gonna narrow things down here so we can get this.
What
thing
about
moving.
London?
Yeah, I'd say it's between London Spitfire, Guangzhou Charge, Vancouver Titans. I'm not narrowing this down at all. But London Spitfire, I'll news on Twitter. What's Chengdu not playing? Okay, well that's not great. Breaking news in the middle.
So we made the right call leaving them off the rankings then.
Yeah, they're just gone.
Lightning
I mean, the
Quill right now.
Overwatch League just at the head of our start season, we wanted to share with the community that the Chengdu Hunters are not included in today's schedule announcement, as they continue to contemplate the future direction of their team. We will update the community further when we have more information to share.
Let's bring up the graphic and then read it out together as a squad.
I'm working on it.
Reading.
Wait, it's yeah. I went to Chengdu Hunters.
I do
Twitter,
wonder
but
though
that's not flying.
when they say contemplate the future direction of their team, not included in today's schedule announcement. There's like it leaves just a little bit of room
For
for them to
maybe
like
come back.
still like insert themselves.
But
then
also,
does
like,
that
what
mean?
happens when the season starts? Yeah, if the season just like starts and like,
It's like
we're
you've
back.
missed,
It's
you've
like,
missed 20
what?
games. What do you like?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I think this is definitely just the like they're gone. But unless they want to like show up again for like, because technically for the East region, you technically could theoretically like, because of how they're doing the system, right? They're doing the open tournaments to qualify into it, or is that only for the pro-am at the beginning of the?
So the way I understand it is there's two qualifications this year from contenders in the Asia area. I say Asia, just encompassing APAC, Korea, and also Australia. And the first one of which is what we're talking about here with actually there'll both be 6 qualified teams, won't they? Because that's we need to make up numbers. The first one is just to get into the mid-season madness qualifiers, as far as I'm aware, as in the 6 teams remaining APAC will play out their normal season. They will qualify into, I don't know how many of them, maybe all of them. I don't know how many will go into the mid-season madness qualifiers, and then they'll be joined by 6 contenders teams for that. And then I guess how many 2 teams from APAC then go into mid-season, or whatever number that was meant to be. And then later after mid-season, I believe 6 of the teams will actually be joining possibly 6 teams will be joining the regular season. So there's like 2 different stages of how that's going to function.
I guess I don't even know I'm worried about this because Chengdu already has a slot. It's not like they have to qualify. So I'm like, this is like not even relevant. So like, I mean, it's just like if they miss a bunch of matches, how do you even fucking balance that like at all? How does that? Even work?
Well, that's why I don't think they can come back.
I think they're
if
fucked.
they,
I think they're out. Yeah, I think.
Let's say they don't. Well, if they come back, they would have to come back like stage 1. Well, there's only 2 stages in there, so they have to come back in the first half of the year. If they come back after mid-season, there's no point.
Yeah. So I mean, I probably think that this is like they're done type of thing. Because like unless they come back really soon, figure it out really shortly, then they're probably done.
And for what it's worth, I don't think it's a problem of they could easily find a team. They could just literally sign Rhodes from Contenders APAC right now, who's like a bunch of ex-alt players from China anyway, if they wanted to, or they can sign Korean players. It's not an issue. It's clearly just, once again, possibly like definitely a budget money thing with Huya and all that kind of, like whether they even want to have a team at all. Not so much who they'll get.
Yeah, what's happening with Huya? Because we talked about it a few weeks ago.
That company is trying to stop bleeding out at the moment.
I think we should get back on track for the most part. Yeah,
sure. But essentially, it confirms that Chengdu, we don't have to put them on the rankings, and we're confident that they can't be the best or the worst team because they're not a team at all.
True. Chengdu Hunters' last tweet is Overwatch 2 has been shut down in mainland China. So that, that gives you the vibes. Yeah. Not great. Because not great because I also don't know what this means for some other teams in the league who are doing like minimal effort. Well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's have that conversation next week. Because I know the schedule was also released. So, we'll talk about the schedule and preview and stuff like next week. This episode's going to be so fucking long unless we start getting some actual teams on the board.
Let's start pumping.
All right.
Let's start.
I'm just going to... We need to come out and have some...
I think it's Dynasty.
I don't think it's Dynasty. It's not fucking Dynasty, okay?
I
They
think
have
it's
Prophet and Void.
Dynasty.
It's not Dynasty. I'm over it,
It's
okay?
not.
Their double flex line is going to be great. So, sorry, it's not going to be Dynasty here. It's either London Spitfire or Guangzhou Charge, in my opinion.
Charge 100% 15th. Less flexibility than London.
I
True, but
don't hate it.
I think a lot of their players are better though. Even if
If Charge play London, who wins?
Well,
if it's a
first of all,
I didn't
depends on
know.
that.
That's
Because
the
one of the
thing.
teams has a main tank, and the other team has Piggy. Okay, so it depends on the
But
meta.
also,
It was an
but
unfair
also, we don't know what
question,
the live meta is gonna be like.
Yeah. Ain't gonna be Sigma.
These
That's for fucking
teams,
sure.
yeah, but it doesn't. But even if it's not Sigma, like if it's like I don't know, like. But Hottie's flexibility just gives London too much, man. I think it's got to be London over them. I think it's got to go Charge in
Yeah,
London. Like
Charge,
I feel like
then the
London,
coaching staff.
then Seoul.
And the coaching
No.
staff, I think London has an edge. I just do.
All right.
it's so hard because I really do think that we're underrating Charge. I really do. I agree with you, Admiral. I think
We
we
are,
are
but-
underrating Charge.
Yet to be seen. Yet to be fucking
My
seen.
strategy is to stay silent now, and then if I'm wrong, I'll just remain silent. But if I'm right,
Oh, that's
I'm
very
gonna be
good strat.
insufferable. I'm gonna be very insufferable later down the line.
Yeah, it's a good strat. It's a good strat. Okay. I'm not bringing up Dynasty, okay? I'm proposing the Vancouver Titans.
Oh,
Nah, I think it should be Dynasty.
It should not be Dynasty here.
absolutely be Dynasty.
Okay, how the fuck can it be Dynasty, okay? Void clears Punk. I don't care what you say, okay? Profit is still Profit, and I like the backline of Dynasty more than I like the backline of Titans.
Soul clears Titans. Just but yeah, all right, that's fair. I
Wait,
mean,
you
to be
just
fair-
hard flip flopped. You just hard flip flopped. What is that? You went from like Titans
Jackson.
clears Soul, and then Soul clears Titans.
Can I bring
It's
up...
honestly
Okay.
it's a coin flip match. It literally is a coin flip
I
match
think-
in my opinion.
I think
But
I'm only-
if Popper just has the fucking freakish performance like he normally does, then I think he can 1v5. Like that's the thing. I really do think he can 1v5. He is the fucking goat.
I'm only down on the back line, and mostly it's on Krill and Lucio, because all we have are the scrim rumors that Lucio is okay.
That's fair.
I think Lee Suman is reasonable, but he's not like a super exciting. He's not like, it's not like Finn from last year or anything. You know what I'm saying? I think Void I'll still give it to him. I think he's nearing obviously nearing the end of his career. He was meant to retire this year, but whatever. Prophet, he's playing Legium and recruiting people back in because he's able to do that, and that's fine. So maybe Void's got a little bit of gas left in the tank. I think Prophet is like still the shining star. If he's still got that in him, if he's still got the dog in him, he's still one of the best players in the world. So it's hard to doubt Prophet. And the
he
other
might be
Prophet, Lil P.
I'll even open it up. He might be washed, okay? If these two teams go head to head, maybe Aspire and Sugar Free, they just like beat Dynasty. For sure, I could see it.
I think Aspire and Sugar Free are probably hungrier, and I'll give him that.
But as well with the coaching diff, like I'd rather have Toby be my coach, and they have, I had this written down. Seoul Dynasty, they have 3 coaches. Vancouver Titans has 1. Like it's just an infrastructure diff as well. Like
you know what it is? I think I have enough belief in Prophet to still say that you can't come into a situation where surely you couldn't come into this year and be like, if we all agreed that Prophet was the GOAT last year, and then this year's like, no, he'll just be washed. I feel like that's too weird. I feel like I have to, if I said Prophet was the GOAT last year, I got to ride that out a little bit more. So I'm willing to give Prophet a bit of rope, quite a bit of rope.
are you budging, Avast?
I mean, that's all.
Are you budging?
I will.
Okay, Lil P, I will say, Lil P, his Widowmaker is great, but Aspire is really fucking good. So Aspire might clear Lil P.
I think Aspire Sugar Free is pretty fucking good. I think Punk is pretty good. I think they're back, but the thing is, their backline is true. Dynasty has a double flex when they want to. I think they have a far worse main support player though.
Okay, so that's another question. How much does that matter though? Like, do I give a fuck if they have faith to like play Lucio and DJ a bit better than?
I think I
Krillin?
think it does. I think it does matter on certain maps because like it's very clear. We've already seen like meta development where like certain maps like it does matter. Like certain like at least because I think with the current balancing state, like you can definitely see the value of having a double flex support in particular on maps like Blizzard World, you know, and then like on certain maps like okay, we want to have like a hard Lucio player. But overall, the flex. No, okay, fine, fuck it. Put Titans. Put Titans. Put Titans and we can put Dynasty above it.
Dude, just fuck, man. Dynasty, just sign a player coach contract with Toby. Just have Toby play the Lucio. Just go.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Screw the Krillin main support. Like, what are we doing?
All right, put Titans. Then I think it should go Dynasty right after though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I've gained some value there. I feel like I've gained some value, so I appreciate that. I managed to have Dynasty.
You drive a hard bargain.
We did. Yeah, we got there in the end, though. We got there in the end. Okay. So we're sort of like... We also have tier breaks if you want that. But yeah, we can get into those later, maybe, at the end of this.
I would like to make a proposal for tier number 11. I would like to make a proposal.
The tier thing.
No, I gotta know who's number 11 first.
Teams?
I think we
Are
do
you
that
saying
later.
a team? You're proposing a team for 11? Okay, go for it. Yep.
Not tier break.
Oh,
yep.
Justice.
Washington Justice.
You think Justice are going to be worse than...
Look at the other teams.
Then Infernal and also potentially, I mean, like, goddamn. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, essentially, the most comparable teams are probably like, and roster wise, are Infernal, right?
Infernal was a reasonable team last year, and they upgraded this year. So
I would say
they did not upgrade this year. Surely.
Zest MN3. They have skewed as well. Like,
Skewed is definitely an upgrade. Mag has the potential to be an upgrade depending on.
I'm just gonna read the thing out. Soul Infernal, Says them in 3. No, they're great. Okay, great damage duel. Love it. All right. They get Mag to replace Belosria. They sign Fixa back, and they replace Aim God with Skewed. I don't love it. I don't get a good vibe, okay?
How is that not an upgrade?
Fixa and Mag might just straight up lose them games, okay? Belosria, I actually
not that bad. What's wrong with Fixa?
Belosria not bad. Belosria, he didn't lose them games. Mag might lose them games to the point where like MN3 and Cess like mauled out of their brains out.
I don't think Fix is that bad. I think Fix is a pretty like Fix is a.
Have you spoken to Infernal fans? Infernal fans like straight up hate Fixa. Like why did we sign him back?
I've heard the opposite of like it's more so they're mad they re-signed Fixa versus getting a better support. It's not that Fixa was necessarily bad.
Are you saying Infernal fans are just like Shock fans from 2021 about FD God?
But the thing is, that's not even true for Fixa because Fixa didn't even have, and like the situation aren't even comparable. Fixa puts on his fucking hard hat. He goes to the work site every day and he works in the main support fucking construction job every day.
He's in the
Is he impressing you? No. But at the end of the day, his back's gonna be broken. 30 years from now, his back's broken. His knees are fucking destroyed. But you know what? He paid for a nice single family home for his family and his 2 children with his main support work. And like, yeah, it's nothing right. He's not gonna get history books written about him or anything. But he's okay. He's all right. You know, like he's not gonna lose you games, but he's not gonna win you games either. Especially because like some of the teams have made, is particularly like Spark and stuff, and then also Charge having more time for their roster. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a very strong chance. Like, I could even see Charge like potentially having like very good runs. But like, I don't think that Fix is that bad. I think Fix is as an okay pick. You know, Mag. I'm interested to see on Mag. I'll say. Mag is an interesting one. I mean, it's got to be here when you're looking. It's got to be like fucking.
Let's bring in the other team. If you're talking Infernal or Washington, I think Infernal's got a better team than Washington for me. You have mixed roster and
DPS line is very comparable between the two. Alfie,
I think you got too much faith in Flora.
Alfie and Flora. Well,
probably yeah.
Maybe yeah. Alfie is so good.
Alpha Yi is so good, but Zest was still better than Alpha Yi last year, in my opinion. MN3 easily clears Flora. I'll fucking die on that hill.
No, I don't think that's not unpopular. That's definitely not unpopular. I mean, the big thing is that Binbest showed that he can play Winston really well.
I take Binbest over Mag.
I would take Binbest over Mag right now. I agree. I would take Binbest over Mag.
So what do we think of the backline then? FD, God, and Teru? Because Teru, I don't think is bad at all. I think he's shown quite a lot on the flex.
Yeah, he's not bad, but it's like Skewed. I think can match up against Teru very well. Probably is better than him, honestly. Skewed is a fucking beast. And then I'm like,
Feud is
Fixa
very
versus
good.
FD God. Realistically, at their peak, I would probably take FD God just because even if Fixa might make less mistakes at times potentially, FD God has way higher.
He
ceiling.
finds, yeah, his highs are way
So-
higher than Fix's.
One additional argument is
It's pretty much a DPS line. It's a DPS line for
Sure, yeah.
Infernal.
for the Infernal, it's the DPS line. This is a bit more, Infernal fans are gonna maul at me for making this argument about Washington now, because it's a bit, fucking hocus pocus magic, whatever. I kind of like the coaching staff and the vibe surrounding the Washington Justice.
Oh, my, the vibe.
I do. Okay, hear me out, okay? Get Amazed, yes. I mean, we can talk about what he did on, Paris Eternal in 2021, whatever. I don't think that's too much of it. I think Get Amazed is going to be amazing. Like, I think he will just, like... What's it called? He'll just like so kind of like us versus them, chip on the shoulder, like no one rates us, we gotta prove ourselves, fuck everyone else, we're the best team. And I think that mentality for the Washington Justice honestly will just like put them in like they'll become like rabid dogs. They'll just like get out there in the server and just straight up pound. Like I think Get Amazed has a great ability to just like motivate his team. And I think this chip on the shoulder thing for Washington Justice, and like you even saw it with the Alpha E thing. I was just like, Alpha E is not a top 5 flex support or flex damage, and they straight up the entire organization was just like, fuck reinforce, like oh my god, we gotta prove ourselves. Alpha E is the fucking best, and like they're going to channel that energy for the entire year, and I actually think it'll make a difference, and I actually think that they'll be better because of it. So compare that to Infernal coaching staff, and I don't know. To me, it's like the big Doge that's buff as fuck versus the little sad Doge meme. And
The thing is, I think Infernal have higher highs. They peak way harder. And so we're talking about end of season.
maybe,
And
yeah,
Infernal
maybe.
last year on Fusion, when they got doubted as well, they ended up consistently somehow alongside Spark, funny enough, being like one of, if not the best APAC team somehow. This team, like on with COVID, ended up being the best performing team in MSM beyond. It's just crazy. I don't know. This team has got insane highs, and could Mag tank this team? Maybe, but I don't know. I think this is finally Mag out of the Washington situation. It's funny. It's ironic because we're also talking about Washington. I'm not gonna. He didn't even really play on Boston. We don't even have to bring up Mag Boston at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So
I think that's fair.
this is Mag's first chance to remove himself from Washington properly.
Yeah, Mag did not have the best opportunity to like have good performances on Boston, and I don't blame him. I think Mag came into a bad situation, and that's not his fault. So I'm willing to like, forget about his time on Boston Uprising. His Washington Justice journey was not great either, though. So all right, where do we stand? Do we need to have a vote? Infernal versus Washington Justice. Where are we going?
You have convinced me of Justice, especially with the backroom stuff.
I mean, Justice are gonna get better practice.
Yeah.
Justice are literally gonna get like so many opportunities to get better, while like Infernal get to wither away in APAC a bit, in my opinion.
I'm going to go with Justice over Infernal. So Infernal 11. Justice at 10.
Avril, I guess we know where you're
People are
we're standing.
dooming APAC way too hard. To be honest, look, the top end of NA is stronger, but like the dooming for APAC is so insane that like everyone, even all, maybe not specifically you guys, but the community as well, is like, even mid-level is like, oh man, these mid-level NA teams just clear APAC. I don't know, it feels weird. It's
No, I
feel
don't.
like they're dooming
I don't.
APAC a little
It's
too
not
hard.
so much that. I feel like at face level value, I feel like a lot of the APAC teams are currently. It's just more so like, what's the level of practice gonna be for that region when you've nuked like a whole region out of orbit? Like, I guess it's carried by Korean contenders.
You'll see how what the impact tennis Korea has. I guess is the only answer to that question.
It's really gonna be the contenders Korea.
I'm
Nah,
sorry.
you know what? You've got me.
I'm sorry. Is this a hot take? NA is fucking stacked compared to APAC. APAC
Yes,
has
it
like
is.
three great teams.
I'm telling you, like the top end of NA is unquestionable. But people are acting like, maybe not you guys, but people are acting like APAC is like 100% below NA almost.
Okay,
maybe
so-
aside from
No,
the
I don't think
Vegas
that.
Valiant side, but
Here's the thing that's unfortunate for APAC, and it's no one's fault. Specifically, like I'm not calling out any GMs or like managers or anything. It's not their fault. But most of the APAC teams are short-handed. Like they don't just have the players to go around and make a versatile roster, and that's not their fault. But there are way more NA teams that have like well-rounded rosters with double tanks and triple flex and like all
They have
that
way
shit.
more players, that's for sure. There's most of the APAC teams have like 5 players.
And I don't blame APAC for that, but I think that makes for more consistent teams if you're making a season rankings. So when I look at the Infernal and I see them Mag as their solo tank and Fixa as their support to rely on for double flex support comps and also like their Lucio player, like I just straight up don't rate Infernal that high comparatively, even though MN3 and Cess are sick. And I acknowledge that. So yeah. People are molding though. There's a lot of people molding in chat right now over this conversation because there's a lot of Infernal fans.
I got it. I have a solution. Let's get the Infernal Fixer haters to vote against the Shock FD God haters, and whoever wins is the worst team.
I'm extremely torn, but I think you've convinced me to go Infernal. I think I'm going Infernal.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Fuck's
I think we're
sake,
split 2 and 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Coin flip. Coin flip. Coin flip.
Coin flip. Coin flip.
Coin
Wait,
flip.
Okay.
Coin flip.
All right. We're doing a coin flip.
We're doing
Holy
it.
fuck. I gotta pull this up. Okay. What is heads? What is tails?
Heads is Infernal
There you go.
because they have a head, and then
Okay.
tails is Justice.
Yeah, I guess Justice is not at the head. But
Wait, say that again, Joss.
Heads is Infernal, and then
Okay.
tails is Justice.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up the screen, and this is not the result, okay? Because we're going to flip it live, okay? Because it's already flipped, and that's not what the thing is, okay? So the screen shows heads, okay? It's not heads, okay? We're going to flip it live so everyone can enjoy the flipping when it like spins for 2 seconds, okay? So here we go. One more time, Joss. One more time.
Heads is Infernal.
Okay.
Tails is Justice.
Okay. Yeah. And whoever wins get 10th, okay? And the other 11th, okay?
Oh, that's Infernal.
Infernal is 10th. Justice is 11th.
Go. I can live with that.
It has been decided.
Experts' opinions featuring coin flips going
RNG
into the
wins.
season.
I can live with that.
Now,
is.
tier break.
Dude,
Let's do tier breaks
this
at the end.
isn't
Let's
even
do
no
tier breaks at the
argument
end.
because it went
Tier
heads
breaks at
twice in
end.
a row.
Tier breaks definitely at end. Yeah, tier breaks definitely at end. I think I agree with that.
Tier breaks here?
No, at the end. At the end. We're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do
tier
them
breaks at
later.
the end, yeah.
Do them later.
Okay. Because I feel, speaking of tiers, I feel like we're moving into tiers now, okay? That was the top 10, sure. But now, it gets fucking difficult to the point where I even didn't even complete my top 10 because it's so literally all over the place. This is going to be wild. I'm not afraid to say, and I haven't compared it to the other seasons or whatever, this is the most difficult top 10 to predict ever. It's straight up insane.
Yeah.
I would even suggest that we just take a few teams off the board that cannot be like 10 through 7. Because I think you could make an argument for like almost all 10 to be 9, 8 here, whatever. But teams that won't be, I think we can all agree. Shock is not going to be like 9, 8, 7. They're probably higher than that.
Yeah.
You can all agree on that. Hangzhou Spark, probably going to be, in the top 3, top 5 kind of category. Maybe Atlanta Reign, but then you could probably like go with every other team. So from all the other 6, 7 teams,
Why should Rain be at the top when they couldn't even beat Gladiators?
see, that's the thing. That's the
I
thing.
gotta take. Since Scott's not here to say it, I'll say it. Boston can go 9. That's what Scott would
No,
say.
I knew someone was going to say it. I knew
Scott
someone was going to
would
say
do
it.
it.
That's
I don't blame him.
bullshit.
I don't blame
That's
him, Joss.
bullshit.
I don't blame
That's
him.
bullshit. No, that is bullshit.
Well, the thing is, they had an extremely close
No
match
way.
though, versus Defiant. It was extremely close.
I'm not saying it's my take. I'm just saying that's Scott's take. I'm just saying his take.
Fuck
It's a
Scott,
valid
yeah.
take.
Also, I mean, where? Okay,
has
so
merit.
I guess the
Fuck
question is
Scott.
like, where does Dallas and Houston go into this? Because Dallas is we haven't really talked a lot about Dallas because Dallas is essentially like it's their DPS line, but but they don't have Fearless and they don't have Fielder or Chio. Like, we're just assuming Dallas are going to be really, really good again.
I am. I will straight up say I am assuming that Dallas will be really good again.
What
I
is
think
he
Rush is
saying?
still too good.
Rush
Like,
is still there, and like
Rush
they
is
got
still very
Bliss,
good,
who's
yeah.
like Bliss is a great.
I think
addition.
MCD is the only hold in this roster, and whether you think Edison's good or not.
Yeah.
But and that's maybe it. I think Bliss is really good. Like he could be the next Chio. I think Hanbin and Sparkle, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind there. I have no doubt in Rush either. So most of the pieces I'm happy with. I don't think they're winning the league again. But
they're not winning the league.
And if you wanted to make the damage argument, they only have Edison and Sparkle. I think you can go back and look at Edison and Sparkle pretty much played.
No.
I'm
not worried. I'm not worried about their DPS line. I'm just saying, like, I'm just wondering, like, what are the? I'm just saying, did we really examine Dallas that much at this point? Have people been thinking about it? I think I was the original Edison believer.
Yeah,
I was the Edison believer, man. I was talking about Edison all fucking year. So
I'm just making the point. If someone made the argument for Dallas to be 9th, because there are some issues with this roster, and we'll get to them later. You can make arguments about all of these teams. I don't think Dallas are 9th, and it doesn't seem like any of you guys do ever either. But.
If I said Mayhem 9th, what is Connor's reaction to that?
I think that's fucking crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
Can you go in the next room and ask them if they think that's crazy?
I don't think it's crazy, Avril.
I think it is fucking crazy because Mayhem has an extremely flexible tank player with an insane Winston in particular, and a very good Rhines, and a ball. Like someone main tanks all good across the board, Winston being their best hero, but they can play every tank. RuPaul is like RuPaul is fucking. Also, they got Merit and Chorog, man, and Merit.
Yeah.
Fucking,
I just wanted to hear you champion the scene. That's all. You know, you get paid. I just want to hear it.
It's not even about that. Like it's just hard. This is I'm just gonna make a judgment call. I'm making a judgment call right now. I'm throwing it out there. Judgment call. I'm gonna put overall season rankings. Houston 9th.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I can kind of get behind that. Okay. I can kind of get behind that.
And then I'm gonna make another judgment call right after that. I'm gonna put Boston 8th.
Can I propose a team here? Can I add a team to the mix here?
Go on.
Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, they've been under the radar.
They beat.
I feel
Boston,
like they're in this territory.
They did get fucking smashed by Mayhem though. They did get fucking demolished.
Here's one of my worries. I will say this. If you want to put Toronto Defiant 9th, like I'm making a potential argument for, the fact that Boston Uprising played a Winston composition and they got beat on arguably what should be their best comps, it's not a great sign for the rest of the season. So if you wanted to put Toronto at 9th, the fact they beat Boston when Boston were allowed to reasonably play Winston at a pretty strong time, and I think Smurf has way higher peaks than Kalios on the off tank, despite the fact that I kind of like Kalios. It just doesn't sit right with me to put Toronto Defiant 9th and then Boston like shit the bed.
No, I mean, because also Boston could have, like, I don't know, that match could have been very different if they didn't lose to a pillar too.
He lost to a fucking
like
pillar.
that. Literally, that whole game could have
geometry.
And also, I will say though, I don't think Defiant, with my current mind's eye, I don't currently view Defiant as like a top 6 team, simply because when I saw them out of the Pro-Am, Defiant seemed really, really reliant on UV and Hydron doing incredible shit.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Now they looked good still. They did obviously still look good. I'm just worried about like what their long term, like how good they're going to look. But they're obviously like they're looking to be a top. Like I would feel uncomfortable putting them like in the top 6 though, for sure.
Are they 9th? Would be the.
I don't know. I kind of believe more in I kind of believe more in Defiant. I don't know what it is, but Houston didn't inspire me. Houston did not inspire me that much. Like, I think I was inspired by Shu, and like Pelicans, the Tracer was really good, but like
season rankings, though. You got to think about end of season.
That's true. I am thinking end of season rankings, but like also the Gargle sub, like I don't think it added to their flexibility that much in that. But it was their first time playing, right? They have the first time playing the roster, so I don't know if you could judge them super harshly about it. Like Gargle had some good moments in the past. Like it's really early on. We only have the Pro-Am to go off of. But like when I still view their flexibility, like you're right. Like Houston, I mean, they have fucking.
It's the player quality on this Houston team is too high.
Yeah, but the player quality on Boston is also crazy.
Yeah, but
it's crazy.
Well, if you ask me, okay, if you ask me straight up, yeah, go on, Cuss, just go on. Just
that was it.
Piece. Okay. If you ask me, if I would want Happy and Pelican versus Decay, Birdring, Striker.
Yeah, you probably would take Happy Pelican. But I mean, the thing is, Decay looked good in Pro-Am. He had moments where he disappeared.
He was all right.
No, he had
Jesus
moments where he
fucking
disappeared.
He makes you mauled. Like
He does make you mauled.
He holds pulse
Birdring's still pounding.
Anyone I've ever seen.
Birdring. Also, we didn't even see Striker at all, to be fair. But like Striker technically doesn't. His hero pull is necessary, but Birdring's still fucking pounding. Birdring looked better than Happy to me. Birdring looked better than Happy.
I think Birdring looked fucking sick, and they
Birdring
still
was
have
terrible.
fucking Smurf. They still have Smurf.
Smurf looked good.
They have Twilight.
Twilight is so fucking good, man.
He's so good.
I think
so good.
I do personally believe, this is just my personal opinion, I think Shu is the better overall flex support. I think Twilight's a far better Ana though.
Yes.
So
yes,
I do think that Shu is the better overall
he's
flex
just a
support.
fucking freak, bro.
Okay,
and Lee Jae-gon did have an iffy, like towards the very end. He
Dude,
looked good at the very start.
I mean,
that
they
guy
threw,
was
they threw though. Also,
trolling.
that was another throw. To be fair, Defiant
Yes.
counter threw after the loss. They counter threw with the Lee Jae-gon chase and the deaths. Like they counter threw that round on Coliseo. So
okay.
Lee Jae-gon was trolling to start the program, like actually trying. He reeled it in.
Was he though?
Yes, what the fuck? Dude, he was like 1v5ing at some points. Like he was throwing beats out, hitting two mans. Like, nah. Dude, he
Versus
was at the
contenders
start-
team, sure, but do
was
you
not
think it'll
doing
be a
well.
complete turnaround and he just will never feed again and it will always
Yes.
be amazing?
No, he's
Okay.
never not going to feed again. He's going to feed, but like they're going to rein it in for like reg season.
we have to make a
Reg
decision.
season.
We have to make a decision for 9th. We have to just make a
Yeah,
call.
we have to make a decision. I will say one more argument. I will bring up the Custa argument.
Boston?
The coaching
Boston?
staff. We gotta talk
Yeah,
about the
fucking
Boston Uprising
hate
coaching staff.
Austin,
They
man.
have Dong Su as their head coach and Jidset as their assistant coach. Okay.
Oh,
what I'm
Jidset.
worried about with the Boston Uprising is this team will find ways to make dumb fucking substitutions and to lose games and play shit they shouldn't play. Whereas other teams like Toronto, confident they'll play what they need to do. Houston Outlaws, Junkbuck is like GM now, and they have Neko as their head coach. I'm still more confident like Houston will find ways to win matches, and they have so much skill. Boston Uprising,
But
there
nearly
just will be
lost
some shitting the
to a
battery.
shock on like 180.
I think are we judging Pro-Am too?
No, we might be
Harsh.
judging Pro-Am too harshly. Maybe Pro-Am, we shouldn't take Pro-Am that seriously.
Houston
perhaps.
got kind of countered by Ramaka and they didn't have an answer. I think
the
it was a one-off. I don't
the
read
meta,
into their loss
the
too
meta's
much.
not going to be equivalent. Like the meta will change from here to live potentially.
Yeah,
To live
it
patch.
will
Like,
100%.
It's not necessarily the meta's not that impactful. Like, but my gut feeling, like looking at it though, like I don't know, man.
I think Houston will find ways to win games, so I'm not willing to put them here.
Yeah,
and I
you're
think
right,
their
you're right,
back
you're
line
right,
is
you're
too
right.
good. The player
You're
skill
right.
is too
Too
good.
early, we told
Happy
Houston.
Pelican. Fearless. I think Gargle will be fine. I think Houston Outlaws will be fine. But Boston Uprising, I just don't know if they'll be
Okay,
fine.
let's identify
okay.
the 9th place candidates. So the 9th place candidates currently are Boston,
Boston,
And
and
Yep.
Houston.
And Gladiators.
I'm actually I'm taking Houston off the roster for the 9th place. I've been convinced. I had to step back from the ledge a bit. I'm taking Houston off the 9th place candidate. Glads, I refuse because I think they got I think they got their shit. If they get their shit together, I just can't.
Yeah,
put
there's
them.
no
I think it's
way
got to be
Glads are
Boston or
sick.
Defiant. It's
Can
gotta be Boston or
so
Defiant.
here's the case for Toronto Defiant as well. Kalush is their... I'm just trying to run through this, by the way, so we can get going. But Kalush is their only tank. Straight up does not want to play ball. Great at off-tank heroes. Do we like Kalush? His Reinhardt is not going to be able to be something you can lean on. And his Winston, like even Kalush Winston, like, okay, whatever. It's not going to win you games, but we'll see how little it loses you games. Hydron, pop the fuck off. Can Sam and Speedily like step up and be a great second damage player next to Hydron? Because when you look at these teams,
Speedily
Boston
can, yeah.
is always going to field two great damage players. Houston Outlaws, Happy Pelican, always going to field two damage players. Will two damage players consistently have a big impact for Toronto Defiant? Will like Speedily step up and like be really good next to Hydron? Also, backline, great at like Lucio, OG playing the Lucio, Brig, and Ultraviolet is a fantastic flex support player. I don't trust my Jed at fucking anything. Okay, people love my Jed. He's fucking off the
You don't
goop, and
trust
I'm tired of not saying it. My Jed is fucking crazy. All right, and he's a
No,
wild
everyone
card.
knows he's crazy, but he's really good at what he does. Which is why
Is
they
he
let him
though?
play the
He
Kirito.
wasted so many Kitsune rushes in the Pro-Am. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but also he opened up a lot of fights with like picks off angles and stuff like that. Like he played the flanks really well. Like the thing, but that's the Majed dice roll. The Majed dice roll is you fucking you play.
You either
stupid
lose or you
Overwatch.
win on Majed's.
You play stupid Overwatch, but you also
on
just
Majed's
win
watch.
like random fights.
Shoe
like,
and Violet clears. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, we're taking Outlaws out of the conversation.
It's just Boston, Toronto.
I think honestly, on logic alone, you probably because also personally, my personal opinion for Pro-Am, I would have taken Speedily Hydron over their DPS line, but I would have taken the rest of the Boston over Defiant. So
Put Toronto at 9th.
I think it
Boston.
should be probably Toronto. I think it probably should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Boston.
There, I will concede.
Yeah, I would
but
give
yeah,
Boston
sure.
then. For after this show.
I will say though, just final thing on these two teams. I think Toronto's coaching line's much better, but maybe we resettle
Hard
that.
agree.
does-
Toronto's
there's
coaching
a lot
staff is
of
way
upside.
better.
There's a lot of upside here.
I
No
kind
whole
of
season, baby.
fuck. I kind of want to put Toronto over Boston. They're just gonna shit the bed. Oh, they're just gonna shit the bed. Fuck. All right.
No,
Well, we
they're not.
agree. Here we are.
No, Riz up. Hashtag Riz up.
So,
Dude, fucking Dongsu and Jitset coaching staff versus Kasaurus and.
Okay, so here's the question then.
Yeah.
Where does Spark start to enter the conversation to? Do we believe
Not yet.
that the Spark
Surely,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
still
Surely.
infinitely better than
There's
this?
no
Surely.
way.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking
Soon,
because
but
it's,
not
because
Hang
the thing
on,
is
I'm
they're
thinking-
to me, here's my opinion for why Spark should maybe start being examined. Their backline fucking great. Monk Linksa is an elite tier backline. Their DPS line, I mean, we
Wait,
can't
where you
even
going
talk.
with this?
But their tank line, Gushui 20, aka Elsa. Gushui is really, really good on like Winston and like, like is pretty decent across other main tanks, but Winston's really his forte, right? And then Elsa is like a solid off tank player, but Elsa to me is like Elsa is like another one of those blue collar
gargoyle.
workers. It's a
Yeah.
blue collar worker.
Gets the
Gets in, gets the job. No,
mines,
honestly, right
gets the
now
job done.
I might take Elsa over Gargoyle, but that's because Gargoyle's had a gap, right? But I guess technically Elsa, so I don't know. It's like it's tough, but Elsa's a blue collar. Like I don't know. The thing about Spark is like they're really carried by their DPS and also by their support line.
Let me
but
bring
their
up one thing.
tanks-
do you think Spark is better than Fuel, or Fuel's better than Spark?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Avril.
No,
we'll
no,
get
hang
to
on.
that.
Because the
No, we have
reason
to-
I think
I bring that up.
next.
I bring that up because if you think Spark is better than Fuel, and I do think Spark is better than Fuel, you can't be talking about Spark first. You got Fuel has
That's
to enter the
true.
conversation first.
That's true.
Come on, guys. There's no way
Okay,
of putting high
that's fair.
Seoul.
Well, no. I'm
Or
just
Dallas
I'm just raising it. So I think Spark goes up. Dallas keeps going up. So let's
Listen,
leave for 7. That leaves us to examine. We have Mayhem. We have Mayhem, Houston. I mean, really
Gladiators.
everyone that's not Spark or Dallas, in my opinion. 'Cause technically, everyone else is in the conversation.
Fuck. I mean, Florida's in here somewhere, but Gladiators, Houston.
No, man. I
And
think
maybe
Florida's
Dallas.
quite high personally. I would personally right now it would
I
be
really
Dallas Outlaws
fucking think Florida's
Glads.
quite good. Yeah.
Are we being
okay,
pro
I
and
know you
pilled? Are you
guys-
guys getting pro and pilled a lot in the moment or not?
Yeah, I agree. You guys are getting a little pro and pilled with Florida Mayhem. I'm sorry.
But the thing is, so let's base off like someone. I would put someone currently, especially on Winston, against like I would put someone like against everybody on the Winston.
Absolutely, no argument against that.
And I would put someone has more flexibility than a lot of these other tanks. That they don't have a off tank player.
100%.
and
Someone is a role star for me.
RuPaul
Potentially
has
so.
shown an incredibly good flexibility.
But you're
Chorong
bringing
is
up the
Chorong.
strengths. I'm thinking about the weaknesses.
Yeah, but the weaknesses here is they don't really have double flex. That's their weakness. Checkmate Merit is fucking insane. They cover everything. Their weakness is they don't have double flex, and Chorong has flexed on deflect support.
He has, yeah.
That's their only
He beat him
weakness.
pro.
Okay, as much as
And not having a dedicated off tank.
as much as
That's
I'm
it.
checkmate pilled, and look, if you start comparing merit and checkmate compared to the likes of Kevster Kai and Pelican Happy and these kind of like damage line, Dallas Fuel, Edison and Sparkle, checkmate still has a little bit to prove, in my opinion, before he's like an established elite damage player. His tracer in Pro-Am was nuts, okay? I get it. He can play Genji, he can play Echo, but There are like
Mary.
some insane double damage duos
Good.
coming up.
Are other
Mary
teams
is
going to
so
overtake?
good.
Because Florida are great now, but we talk about end of season. It's like they hold on to their current position. Because I think Glads have a chance of overtaking. I think Florida the better team than Glads, but because I brought up Glads already. At the same time, it's like I look at other teams.
Yeah, I mean they're in the conversation in my
Houston.
opinion. Yeah.
I fully expect Houston to overtake Florida this season at some point, easily, off player quality alone.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
I want to
yeah.
talk about Winston. I mean, at some point, do you want to bring Fearless into the Winston conversations?
But what about yeah, man. I mean, Fearless. It's so fucking hard.
It is.
Ah,
It's
so
insanely
fucking
hard this year. I think you could go so many ways, and I wouldn't blame anyone.
I think we have to go gut. I think I start going gut calls. I'm throwing a gut call. I'm just gonna throw a gut call out here. Like I'm not thinking any capacity. Complete gut. I'm going Atlanta.
What? What is this?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
okay.
actually throwing Houston. I'm throwing Houston in the mix.
Okay, so
Houston?
yeah, go on.
That's it. That's it. That's all I got.
Glads, then Houston.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Glads might be capped out as well.
Yeah,
A little bit here.
If you make some player comparisons, Houston has a pretty good case. Here's the thing I'm worried about Houston Outlaws. The backline's great. We know that. Shoe Violet's fantastic. Damage line is great as well. Neko is their head coach now. So when a lot of people go like, oh, Junkbuck is, yeah, he's behind the scenes. And, he cooked up that Wrecking Ball Farah composition
He's
against
still their
Twisted
coach.
Minds in the Pro Am. Junkbuck is not listed as head coach on the...
His title changed, but as far as I'm aware, like he's still above Neko in terms of ranking.
So
and
we
he's
got the
still-
LinkedIn promotion is what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure it's just a title promotion.
Okay. All right.
But he's still in charge of this team. It's not like he's not coaching the Houston Outlaws Valorant team now or anything. It's like Beasley only have one team, no?
Yes, they tried to get a Rocket League team, but
That's what I'm saying. It's like they still only have an Overwatch team.
Yeah.
It's not like Junkbuck's gone coaching some other team now.
No. Yeah, but who has
He's still the head honcho.
Look, I don't know the internal dynamics of Houston Outlaws, so who knows? I do think that I'm not going to base this too much on the Pro-Am, but I do think there's something to the idea that I could see Houston Outlaws struggle to adapt in-game. When you have Fearless in as your tank, and they pretty much like went all out on the Tracer Sombra composition against the Ramada comp, they couldn't figure out the Gladiators composition, how they're playing it. Dante at least gives me some hope that he'll be like, I'll play the Winston, I'll play the Ramatra, I'll play the Doomfist, and even the Diva. And in general, like, the Gladiators roster will stay pretty flexible. I have a lot of faith in the Gladiators coaching staff. Smash, Great Mind, for example. I think they have great principles. They always stay aggressive. They have like great kind of like principles going into the game. And I think they find a way to play to their strengths and win games. The backline is a little questionable though. Like Lastro, I think we're sleeping on sometimes. Lastro is amazing. Funny Astro. Good Lucio player, but Bubble, people love Bubble as well. I'm not quite there yet. Like I just love Shoot Violet more, so it's very tough. I realized I said nothing there for like 2 minutes, but still.
There's more explosive power in the backline in the Outlaws has gone.
I will say this. I think Glads and actually a reasonable amount of other teams in this list still have better Tracer players. I think Houston have a Tracer gap in their team. I think Pelicans Tracer is not up to par.
Versus Kevsters, yeah. I mean,
versus a lot of top tier.
Yeah,
I'm going to Houston Glads. My next two. That's what I'm locked in at. You guys have to decide from there. I will essentially. I feel like it's Houston Glads.
I'm just thinking who has more potential at the end of the season.
We're also getting to the point where like when you bring up a name like Kevster will just straight up like win fights that you're not supposed to win. He's just like an X factor. So
this is Kevster is like the name on this team, and I feel like I'm comparing one name to everybody on Outlaws because I feel like aside from Kevster, I almost pick anyone else on Outlaws, but I definitely pick Kevster instead of Pelican. Not that Pelican's bad, but if I was choosing one of the two, I pick Kevster over Pelican, but every other role, I feel like I pick Outlaws, personally.
Top 10 is just wicked sick this year. God damn.
And based on that, I feel like I can't put Glads above Houston off one player.
I'm going to tell you why Glads goes above them for me, and it's because I really believe that Gladiators are the smarter team right now, because it's very clear they're going to be working a lot to figure out how does Dante work and even like what metas they play because of it. I personally think the thing about Dante is that he's learned the role of main tank, and he looked pretty decent on Winston, honestly, in the time that he's playing. But I think Dante is a smart player. I think Dante is one of the smarter players in the league, in fact. And I think the Glads coaching staff have gone around him to be like, we're going to play stuff that enables us to play a style that other teams aren't going to play, because like they're going to be exploring options that a lot of like conventionally strong teams like Houston won't explore.
You're talking about that like a strength, but I can hear that as a weakness as well. It's like, well, you have to play around this whole team.
But I just think that overall I think it could be a weakness, but I have a hard time believing that they're gonna like just throw on it. Typically, it's always possible, right? It is possible to just be cooking too long, but my belief is I think it's gonna work. So that's why I have Houston and Glads.
I think I have Houston here at 7, and the kind of like thought experiment I have is like, okay, what if like Winston gets nerfed? We're not playing Winston anymore. How are we looking at Houston versus LA Gladiators if Fearless can't play Winston? And I realize that Fearless can play Wrecking Ball, he can play Reinhardt, but there are diminishing like returns of like how good of a peak Houston Outlaws can have besides the Winston play. And I feel like Gladiators are just better in many more different compositions. They're more versatile. I have more trust in the infrastructure, the 3 coaches.
You convinced me. You convinced me.
Face Smash Hunter. So I think I'd put Gladiators above Houston for that reason.
Yeah, okay. You got me. You got me.
I'll
take that.
There we go. All right, we made some progress. We made progress. That's good progress. Now
I'm just saying, we're actually just looking at the time. We're 1 hour 30 into this. This is historically like really good pace for the season rankings, because these episodes are usually like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So we're making good pace here. Even though it feels like we're stuck forever.
This is where you have to seriously bring in Florida and Fuel into the conversation.
Yes.
At this point.
Definitely. I even say Fuel at 5th. I think they're the gatekeepers of the top 5, which is crazy. Which is crazy. But Mayhem, dude, Mayhem. Maybe I am high on the Pro-Am, but Merit is just so good, dude. And Chorong in the back line too, unbelievably consistent. Plays a fucking sick Lucio. Can also flex to flex support, so they can play double flex. Someone is phenomenal. I do think, although we're talking about the end of the season, with Coach Rush. Oh fuck! Hang on, no, I take it back.
I can bring this one up. This one's gonna fuck with your mind. Would you pick Hanbin or someone?
I would pick someone. I would pick someone.
It is a little meta dependent, because if Hanbin hits a stride,
if it's the right meta, Hanbin clears. Yes, but if it's the right meta, someone clears. If it's a Winston meta, someone fucking clears. I
think Hanbin has the chops to really catch up on his missing heroes.
Hanbin is so good.
I think Hanbin is.
And then they have Rush.
Hanbin is him. He is him. He really is.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas didn't even like really play Fearless up until the playoffs, and like if you're a straw man,
but I mean, arguably they won. Like you said, I'm assuming you're going this way, Johnny. Is that like I don't think they would have won playoffs without Fearless. I think they lost if they played Hanbin.
Well, because we had a Winston meta, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't think he would have been. I don't think Fearless like was a huge portion of the reason that they were able to have such a good playoff run. Like, like Hanbin has a clear weakness, and it is having to play main tank. It's not that his main tank's bad. It's not bad, but it's not elite. I don't think it's elite, and I don't think you can truly. It's really, really hard to become elite.
That was not the direction I was going to go.
Oh, okay. We'll go on.
I was going to go in the direction that Dallas Fuel almost set like a league record for most wins in a row by not playing a main tank, and Hanbin just played Sigma and Zarya the entire time. So that's pretty much the opposite of the argument, that like maybe Hanbin, like maybe Dallas Fuel just played to their strengths once more. Look, Coach Rush, okay? He's like the fucking, you know, the old school Iron Chef, where there's like 3 or 4 Iron Chefs and they're like specialists in different cuisines. And then like when the contestant is like, hey, let's cook with asparagus or some shit, they like bring out like the fucking vegan specialist Iron Chef, and he's like, yo, I'm the fucking king of vegan, okay? Coach Rush is the king of tempo. He like brings out Lucio comps, like everyone's like, what are they doing? What are Dallas Fuel cooking? Because they're that good on it, okay? Dallas Fuel, people might sleep on Bliss. They might say that MCD is not as good as Fielder. But MCD has former experience playing with Rush on Element Mystic, so I think that Rush, this is actually a pretty tactical pickup from Rush because he knows what MCD is capable of and knows how he thinking, has a previous relationship with MCD. And then you have Hanbin, who's one of the best tanks in the entire game, and a deep damage line that's essentially the same from last year. So I'm not sleeping on Dallas Fuel because I just think they're one of the best strategical teams in the entire league.
People keep shitting on this backline, like maybe MCD, but people need to stop shitting on Bliss.
No, Bliss is good.
Mad underrated. If not you guys, but like if the community thinks Chio came in, and I don't know how hyped Chio was, but like Bliss is the next dude that fills that role. He was the clear support standout coming through from contenders last year. Like among both flex and main supports, Bliss was the standout. He was number one for draft pick for support easily. If you were going to get one guy for support, Bliss was it. So if you want the closest replacement for Chio, it is Bliss. People need to stop sleeping on Bliss.
Yeah, and I think people
by the end
are,
of the season, that team is going to be wicked sick again.
Yeah,
It's so hard. Hanbin really is.
You want to talk about Lucio, by the way? You talk about Rush and Lucio. Bliss stood out to me on Lucio in 2019 on Gen G when he was like 15. And Gen G was like not a very good team at the time, but I was like, this Bliss dude.
So we can't put. So we know we can't put Dallas 5. I wouldn't put Spark 5 either.
No.
So it leaves Mayhem Atlanta Shock. Based off rosters, it would be Mayhem.
Mayhem, yeah, surely.
But vibe check.
I kind of wanna put Mayhem at 5th. I think they've reached. I think putting Mayhem at 5th is pretty charitable, considering that they have a questionable double flex support lineup, and Checkmate still, in my opinion, has something to prove on, certain heroes, even though his Tracer looked great in the Pro.
I think that you...
Compared to Atlanta and Hangzhou and San Francisco and Dallas,
yeah,
I think Florida Mayhem are...
Okay, fine. Yeah, you're right. I got it.
The strengths on Fuel are too strong. Rush, Hanbin,
yes,
Sparkle...
Now this.
Okay.
Now this is the tough.
Alright, now you put Dallas here. No.
I actually, I'm gonna make another. I am gonna make a hard vibe call. That doesn't make it. This is literally hard vibes. The hard vibes. I'm just saying hard vibes.
Okay, hard vibes.
Rain.
That is a hard vibes call. That is a very hard vibes call. Holy shit.
Oh god. So wow.
I don't think I could do that. There's just no way, right?
Gator is the head coach of this team.
Yeah, think of the Gator head coach. The backline is fucking Fielder, Chio. They have motherfucking LIP, right? They have Stalker, Hawk, and Donghag. Like, Donghag's ball, very good. Hawk can also cover a lot of fucking bases. I think the flexibility of this fucking team is kind of nutso. And I think at this stage in the game, I wouldn't say like the bigger the roster, the better, but I think having way more flexibility is going to just separate you from the rest of the teams up in this like top 4.
I think when we're looking at these teams, when you're looking at 4, to me, like, also I think this is where Spark officially enters the conversation. Is Spark right here?
Yes.
This is where I put Dallas 4th and then maybe Spark after. I still think Spark are better than Dallas.
Man,
but this is where I think Dallas got to exit.
I'm kind of leaning Dallas here too. I'm leaning Dallas 4.
Yeah.
Sure. Like so here's the thing. My rain placement for 4th was based off. There was literally no factual evidence to support that. I'm simply going off the aura in the air. I have no factual evidence to support that.
The crystals.
I have no. Literally, I can't give you a good reason why I put
Astrology.
that there. I just said it's just something feels right about it.
Here's the case for Atlanta Rain then. Okay, so Gator is the head coach now. Brad is still helping with the team, but he's not like the focal point of the infrastructure. They have a third coach, which is Wizard Young, who is the assistant coach of the Atlanta Rain. They have two very competent tanks. One who is like a ball / Winston specialist in Donghack. Hawk, who is one of the smartest tank players in the game. They have Lip and Stalker, who can pretty much flex to whatever they possibly could and play like an elite level as a true damage players. And they have arguably one of the most stacked backlines in the history of the game with Vigilante and Chio and Fielder. I think they're too smart to fail. I think they have great smart minds, insane mechanical skill, good infrastructure. I just don't see a way for Atlanta Reign to like underperform this season.
They are top 2 easy. It's the Fuel and Spark who are 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think Dallas have some shortcomings. I really do. Hanbin is their only tank. MCD.
I'm saying Dallas 4.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning Dallas 4 as well.
I could see Dallas as much as it pains me.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Okay, thank you.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
So now we get to third, right? I personally would say Spark now. They do have the 2 best Chinese DPS players to ever exist in Shy and Leave. However, comparatively, Shock and Rain, I don't think they stand up. Across an entire season,
Hangzhou third is fine for me.
Very difficult.
It's in the rest of the players. It's the rest of the players that don't stack up. Leave and Shy more than stack up is the rest of the players that won't stack up.
Dude, you know people are going to be so mad by putting Shock this high after they lost to Outlaws. People are going to be so mad about this pro-am stuff. But I do agree pro-am, people are buying into it a little bit too much. So, I agree. So,
I think it's the only logical point right now is putting Spark here. I mean, I think you could make an argument maybe Shock third and then Spark second, Rain first.
I'm vibe checking Atlanta third place again. Don't think it's gonna land, but I'm just vibe checking. Once again, I can't give you a real reason. I'm just vibe checking it to third.
Okay.
Okay.
Go on, Johnny.
Let's just fuck.
If it was up to me, I think it would go personally. I think it would be Spark here. I agree. If it was factually based off factual information, I would put Spark. Based off vibes, I would put Atlanta.
Okay. This is not a pro-am take. This is not a pro-am take.
Narrative set.
But there are a few things with this Shock roster that has me concerned going into this season. Okay. So here's the case for Shock. Probably top 3 coaching staff in the league. Okay, great. Love that. They have Proper, the most valuable player in the league. For their support flexibility, they have Finn and Vindime. So, I don't know how you guys rate Vindime's flex support if they want to play like double flex support lineups. They have to figure out what they're doing with Max and Junbin because they interchangeably play them, seemingly to no like real rhyme or reason. They're like kind of feeling it out in the pro-am, and I don't blame them. They're playing on ping already in the pro-am, so again, not going to read into it, but they have to figure that out. And they have to figure out the Proper and Heesang role situation because the pro-am started out with Proper playing a lot of Cassidy. He was playing a lot of Hanzo. And then for Sombra Tracer comps, we saw that Heesang was playing the Sombra and Proper was playing the Tracer. And then as the tournament moved on, they started to move Proper over to the Tracer role because they needed Proper to carry on that Tracer role. Is that going to be the best option for them moving forward? When you talk about all the kinds of different compositions, where it's like Tracer Genji, Echo, Hanzo, Symmetra, Mei, I don't care. Like bring up all these different damage duos. Who is going to play what? They sort of have to figure that out.
I can tell you.
Yeah, okay.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, sure.
Proper always plays the Tracer. He's saying will fill the rest of Flex DPS. It's the hit scan hole that's the issue.
How
this team desperately needs a hit scan.
Are you on Heesang playing that Flex then?
Well, that's his main role. That's what he played all across his career on O2 Blast, Talon before that. And he was fighting with Proper. Proper was better, but he was fighting with Proper to be the best player on those heroes when they both competed and contended at the same time. I just think you need your best. If it's a Tracer plus Flex DPS, you need your best Tracer player on Tracer, which is Proper. Yeah. And then he's saying we'll fill the other gaps, which he's going to be comfortable doing. The issue comes when either one of them has to play hit scan, and it's going to be the whole Leave Jinmu situation from last year, where Leave just wins MVP in 2021 off of Flex DPS, has to move into hit scan, it doesn't look comfortable. Right? He's saying Proper is like a repeat of that, but for Shock this year is a scary thing. So
Yeah.
I think Shock need to fill a gap. But you actually bring up good points about Shock. But the only thing is like the reason why I still sit at Hangzhou number 3 is despite the leave shy situation being insane, I don't have a ton of belief in tank flexibility and like peaks as well. Gushui off of Winston becomes a little bit questionable, and I don't think Elsa's got bringing enough to the table.
I
The
agree.
rest of the rest of the team on Hangzhou is insane, and I love it. But the tank specifically, outside of Gushui being on his best hero, starts to look a bit iffy if we're talking about like moving into top 2. Whereas I think San Francisco can still just force hit scanner work, and even if they don't pick up a hit scan, I guess Proper just plays it. Maybe the rest of the team can pick up the pieces. I think we haven't seen the best out of Max and Junbin just yet. I think Pro-Am you can't judge this team too heavily on Pro-Am. And I've seen some of, I don't know if I want to call it peaks, but I've seen some of the real magic that Max and Junbin can actually bring to the table. And I feel like we haven't seen that yet. So I believe in that tank line a lot.
Spark has to be 3 simply because their tank line out of all these teams here are the worst tank line. I mean, and honestly, that's even hard to say because like Atlanta's tank line, I think is a close runner-up here because like realistically on like Winston, I take Gushui over like Dong has a better ball, and then I would take Hawk on like I would take Hawk on like Diva for sure. I think I don't know about like certain like every off tank compared to the Elsa, but like overall, like I just don't rate the Spark tank line that heavily. The biggest thing is that like they're essentially competing versus Atlanta for like they really are competing for Atlanta on this 3 spot, in my opinion, just because of the tank line.
Really?
But it's because of the tank. Just on the tank lines. But like I mean,
actually, I agree with that.
Yeah, they're competing for Atlanta. Like overall, Shock. When you think on paper, Shock is the more complete roster. But like when you think about like the pure flexibility of the rosters, like the rosters are pretty similar, honestly, in terms of like the only difference is that Atlanta has a more flexible actually, well, they really don't technically, right? Because Spark has it is, yeah, they have a more flexible backline because they have Vigilante also on that. So like I think it has to be Spark just for flexibility reasons because Atlanta has more options. I also think Atlanta has the benefits of like playing against a very strong North America
I'll put it this way.
a lot. So
Atlanta have the best supports. Shock have the best tanks. Spark have the best DPS in this conversation. This is like choose your starter Pokemon right now.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it.
I even think we can't go back, but I even think I think Hangzhou is the 3 here because I think they're even in the discussion for 4, whereas I don't think Atlanta, San Francisco are in the discussion for 4. So that just tells you I'm leaning Hangzhou more because I could have even seen Dallas being in the top 3 here, but Hangzhou, I'm kind of leaning Hangzhou 3 here.
I'm fine to put Spark 3 once again. Vibe check though, I would put Atlanta 3, but.
Are you gonna make a fucking callback to the vibe check? It's like, oh, my Plat chat preseason vibes.
If it turns out this way, I will make the vibe check reference because something about it is like.
It's just. What do you think is going to be the biggest hole that could cause you to lose? Is it going to be,
We're assuming the holes are apparent. What if the holes are mental more than physical? What if you have a spiritual stigmata and it just shows up and you don't know?
What does that even mean?
People are really high as well.
Are the wounds of Christ, and like that's the holes in his hands that bled.
There are a few people in chat who are like, we're disrespecting Gushui. Gushui was like on his way out of the league last year before the playoffs hit. Like, he had some even questionable Winston performances in the regular season. So I think questioning the tank line of Hangzhou is really like a great argument. And that's why I even think Dallas could realistically be top 3. Because I just have more faith in Dallas. They don't have a tank issue to the extent that Hangzhou has. Or question mark. Not an issue, but like a question mark. Hangzhou definitely has a tank question mark.
Yeah.
20
Number
carries.
3, then.
What the fuck are we doing, guys?
I wouldn't put
Then
Dallas
we-
above Spark still for me personally, just because I think the DPS clear so fucking hard.
It's
Spark
unbelievable.
3rd then.
Also,
is
they
what
still
we
have
need.
more. They also have decent flexibility, and like it's like I also would rate. I would probably rate Linksa and Bunk over the Dallas backline simply because because Bliss is likely better than like Linksa, but like MCD unfortunately I think is not as good as Bunk. So
Yeah, I agree with that. So
Yeah, I mean-
top 2.
This is where as well, like, I don't know how you guys feel, like if you're just like straight up comparing the rosters, but again, I'm bringing it back to like an argument that I made throughout the podcast. Just like being able to win games, like finding ways to win games, like Dallas Fuel, like playing Lucio comps. They're great at playing rush compositions, and they always like excel at that. They are quote unquote the team that always like finds the meta and makes up the meta, and then everyone follows suit after Dallas Fuel. I don't trust Hangzhou Spark to the same extent, in that Hangzhou Spark will always set themselves up to win every game compositionally and tactically. Whereas now you're talking about Dallas Fuel, Atlanta Reign, San Francisco Shock. I trust those teams to just like be really smart about the way they go into matches, the compositions they play, and the rosters they play, the substitutions they make. And that's, I think, Hangzhou Spark has a weakness in that area. So
I just say, coaching wise, Ray is back. He's the fucking China goat.
yeah,
Ray seasons are typically strong seasons.
Every other season coach that comes back, right?
Overwatch most second winning coach of all time. He just gets second place in most tournaments and not win. Doesn't win.
So number 2,
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be hella divided, bro.
I think it's Chengdu.
That's based. That's very based. Chengdu on number 1.
I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one.
I know Connor's vibes are completely off. I'm gonna say it. I actually think go second here, and I think Rain in first.
I honestly don't have a factual argument for either of these teams. Because like
It's so hard to call.
because like
Can
because
I-
Rain as a roster, I rate the Rain backline and I rate the Rain DPS line simply because of their flexibility over
Yes,
Shocks.
dude.
But the
they
Shock
have
tank line
proper
is
and
also
tank
they
line.
have proper, and the Shock tank line
Yes.
is better. So like they have two competing components that are like both very strong. I also personally think like at this point you would take the Shock coaching staff obviously over the Rain coaching staff simply because Gator is unproven. He's also working on the mixed roster. Like so Shock, it could lean towards either way depending on where you view it. But like I'm just going.
I gotta take. I think for me, one of the deciding factors is putting Shock number 1 would piss off the most people, so that's why I want to put Shock number 1.
Yeah, I mean, if we ever get to the point as well where we want to bring in curses, magic, shamanism, and all of that lovely stuff, Bad Pachimari did predict Atlanta to win, and so that they're therefore not
True,
going to
that's
win.
true. Yep.
That's rough. Actually, I didn't know that. That's rough.
So what makes me uneasy about the San Francisco Shock is that do they historically have slow starts? Can anyone remind me of that? Doesn't Shock historically like start slow and like the first 3-4 matches or so?
I mean, when didn't they come out in season like 2019? Didn't they come out like 2019 and just Omega Pound initially?
Yeah, that might be the season, but I'm talking about like the last 2 seasons.
The last, the other seasons though, they've definitely had like, I can't remember everything off the top of my head, man. I've fucking seen too much Overwatch.
Okay. Shock has some things to figure out, but Krusty fucking always finds a way to like win
9K.
games and to field the best roster and to play the best
9K,
comps.
yeah.
Krusty, therefore, like he is the best coach in Overwatch history because he always like manages to find a way for his team to play at the best possible level. I wouldn't be surprised, dude, if you told me at the end of the season that Max and Junbin was like a conversation for like 3 weeks, and then Krusty was just like, yeah, we're just gonna play Max for like the rest of the year, and Junbin's not gonna get us a chance because that is the way for us to win games. As Krusty, I have decided that Max is going to play all our games. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because he is that ruthless about making player choices and feeling the best roster. We saw it with, Sam last year, for example. Like, Krusty wasn't worried about, do I give Sam like opportunities to play here? And like, yeah, Sam did play some matches, but then he was like, fuck it, I'm literally gonna bring in Striker because Striker gives us the best chance to win, and that's how we win games, and that's the Krusty way. And I think that matters. Like, there are question marks I have about the Shock now, but I literally think that Krusty will figure them out and they'll just be amazing because that is what they historically do. It started out rough with like Violet Cassidy in 21, but fuck it, man. They were not that bad in the season.
Partway through the season, Andy Miller will buy a player from another team to fill the hole. Just like,
Probably, yeah.
Striker come back. They'll just buy out.
Striker again.
Let's see who. They'll just buy out Lip probably. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. And So I think if you're just looking on paper, I think that Atlanta has the best team. They have a great coaching infrastructure. They have the best roster. But Shock just has the magic, man. Like, they have all the intangibles, the magic. Yeah. They literally picked up Kalush like a month before last regular season, and then they set the record for most regular season wins in a row. Like, you can't argue with that.
But I mean, a big portion of, I mean, obviously with Kalush had a good season, but obviously I think we're kind of discounting the value like Mikey brought into that team too for them. But like, not that Kalush had a big role, like a big part in their. So.
I'm just gonna bring up that line, by the way, Johnny. I love that you said that, because that will be the quote that the fans will hate the most. They think writing Shock so hard. Johnny's talking about magic. What the? Yeah, that'll be the line that they will point out the most.
Dude, the amount of people.
That's why I love that you said it. That's why I love that you
come into the YouTube chat and just like, oh, these rankings are fucking atrocious. Not even for a second, considering the fact that they're stupid as fuck. Like, it just boggles my mind. Some of these guys
not realizing that they're dumb as hell. Yeah, I don't think the average layman. Like, oh yeah, wait, I'm a stupid motherfucker. Like, of course they're gonna think they're the smartest.
Maybe these guys know better than I do.
Generally, like, I fucking read this study, but like, the dumber you are, the more smart you think you are. That's why this Plat chat, this fucking show exists. That's why we're on it.
You just quoted the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Let's not give these people the benefit of the doubt. Not at all. I know better. That's why I'm.
I know better.
I think
we're right up there in the Dunning-Kruger curve right now. We're right fucking up there.
Start of the season, I expect Rain to be much better, but there's you're like intangibles and I don't know, proper MVP by the end. I think the one issue for me with Shock is if by the end of the season we enter some sort of hit scan meta, lip clears, and it'd just be too hard. I don't think Proper will be able to even compete on that. He's just not traditionally hit scan enough to do that. But Proper clears Stalker easily. Lip and Heesang don't even play the same role, but I'd probably choose Lip over Heesang. Tanks, I easily take the Shock tanks. Supports, I take the Rain supports. I don't know about like super easily. Yeah, okay. I feel the Chio specifically, I do. So,
I mean, I would still take Fielder Vigilante and like a double. If they're playing double flex, like of course they're going to clear the Shock double flex too.
It will come down to how important the tank diff is going to be this year. Because Dongak's a literal ball only player. Junbin is not only a better ball than Dongak by miles, but then also plays the other main tanks and has a little bit of off tank. And I think Max is him. You just have to wait.
I think Shock are about to get Omega lucky that Cass is getting like nerfed heading into the regular season, because I think if Cass had stayed like really strong, there's a chance that Rain just pounds.
Rain would clear, yeah.
But like, you know, but also I mean they didn't pound in Pro-Am. But they were trying to play. They tried to play like they were playing into like Glads in the Ramatra comp, and the Ramatra did a good job of like denying the value of the cast, and it's tanky enough to where you can like work around it. So like there are going to be some workarounds there to where they're hard hit scan comp can still get beat by good tank play. So personally, to me, the tanks of the Shock make the difference. I think the tanks of the Shock make the difference when I'm looking at the facts. Well, I'm just on the vibes. I'd still put you know, like I said, Rain goes second. It'd still lose off vibes, but. First two. Shock
vibes the most important here, so I'm with Connor. I'm going off pure vibes and magic.
I think and also the vibes here. Also, when I've spoken to them, I put my ears to the vibes and the great vibe tree that runs through the world. Its roots reach to the center.
I want the reason for us to put Shock in #1 to be like the most illogical thing ever, just to have the maximum level.
Wait,
assault.
Are you trying to throw the Plat chat rankings under the bus?
No. I'm just trying to farm salt. I'm a legendary salt farmer, and I'm just trying to extract the highest amount of salt from the audience.
You are a legendary salt farmer. I think it should be Shock Rain, but not for any factual reasons, even though there are factual reasons for that. I think it should be Shock Rain just because I feel like.
Wait,
yeah, I would have brought up factual reasons, but now I'm on Connor's page. I think it'd be.
But we've already done it on factual reasons. There's nothing more to discuss. We've discussed all the facts. It's now time to react.
Okay. Okay, Johnny. It is time to bring out the coin again. It is time to bring out the coin.
Oh wait, are we in agreement? I think we're in agreement.
No coin. Yeah. It's Shock Rain, no coin.
Wait, what do you mean Shock Rain? Shock next
first,
at 2?
Rain 2. Shock first, Rain 2.
It feels incredibly wrong to put Shock as #1.
It feels very disingenuous.
It does, but also it does feel wrong. But once again, don't overreact to Pro-Am, because if we were based on Pro-Am, Florida would be the undisputed #1 best team in the league, which is, you know, it's a little crazy.
This is not power rankings, not week 1 rankings.
Yeah, exactly. It's so like, but once again, at number 2, like Shock still nearly beat fucking Houston on 180 ping.
Yeah.
And it was 5 a.m. their time, you know? Like, the thing is, like, that's like a pretty insane feat, all things considered. Like, at the end of the day, like, even if we base some recency, Shock still has shown that they're clearly, like, if they had not been on ping, I think they win that match. Like, I think they win that match 100% if they're not on ping. And then who knows where they go, right? Who knows how the tournament goes? Like, at the end of the day, like, there's very few more complete rosters than Shock's, other than the fact, like, other than the other teams also in, like, this top, like, 5, 6 category, right? Like, these are all the teams that only have as completed rosters. But Shock just has, like, a lot of really fucking good stuff going for them. They have proper. They have the best, arguably 2 of the best tanks in the league once they're off ping, you know?
I also think if you're bringing up the Pro-Am and you're going to be one of those Andys who just like, oh, this happened in the Pro-Am. This team beat that team in the Pro-Am. The lower part of the bracket was so incredibly stacked that you can't even, like, take it into account. Like, Atlanta could have easily been in the finals. Like, they arguably should have beaten the Gladiators. Houston versus Gladiators, incredibly close. Houston versus
single
Shock,
Elam as well. Single Elam, come on.
Single Elam, and it was so stacked in
Yeah.
that lower part of the bracket. So I don't care if Atlanta went out the first round. I don't care if Shock went out the first round.
Atlanta,
Because they played so close. Like,
lower bracket team.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, yeah, that's the end of the day. There is nothing that you can take away from the pro and be like, this is how we should inform ourselves. You just only have to go off the rosters and, like, what you believe. And more importantly, when you communicate via the tendril from Avatar to the vibe tree and you talk to Mother Vibe and you say, okay,
Mother Vibe.
that's it. You know,
Okay.
I think realistically, this changed though, because my preseason rankings, our preseason, I believe, or like my earlier ones, I think I might have had like Atlanta first, but like I said, the vibes have shifted.
Actually, the only way this ranking is better is if you actually put Chengdu 2 and then Atlanta 20. That would be.
So I'm ready to
funny as
call.
fuck.
Let's put the final piece in
I'm
the
ready
puzzle.
to call
Let's
it,
call
yeah.
it.
it
Let's
feels
rank
so
second,
wrong to have
Shock
Shock number
first.
1. I'm not gonna lie. It feels so wrong to have the number 1. Because I don't... Wow. I don't like it. I don't like what I've created.
Everybody make a face. It's going on Reddit.
I don't like what I've created.
There you go.
Oh, fuck. This feels so bad. This feels so
dude.
bad.
Guys, I can already taste it. The salty
If you-
tears. I can already taste it.
If you could literally tell me that if that like this should be the case, and I would have been like, all right, yeah, why not? Yeah, sure.
What the fuck?
This is ridiculous. Like, this season is so ridiculous that you
Top
can
10 is crazy.
top
Like,
10 is
actually crazy.
absurd. You can make an
Yeah,
argument
it
either
is.
way.
It is crazy.
There's no correct answer.
I think there was a
hang
real
on.
chance if Shock had gotten blown out in their second match of Pro-Am, I think I'd be a lot less likely to put them in like the top 3. But because they showed up
Oh, right, it's not
And-
done yet.
nearly won in a 180 ping environment and clearly showed like some adjustments, I'm like, okay, like I could still have some unwavering belief in like the roster strength, you know? But if they had like shown up and like played a good match and like they got kind of like destroyed, I'd be like, oh, like I don't know. Like I don't know if I can auto put you top 3.
One more
even
thing.
if it was preseason.
One more thing. We forgot one other thing. Put a tier break between San Francisco and Atlanta.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, did forget the tier breaks.
No,
Do
no.
it.
Put a tier break between Vegas and everyone else.
So we can put one Toronto and Inferno.
Oh my-
I think that's the first tier break we can put.
That's reasonable. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
reasonable.
I could live with that. Put a tier break between Vegas and everyone else.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
entire
that is a big
bar.
tier break.
You've
That
taken
is
the
a
whole bar.
big-
Wait a second.
There it goes. The bars are moving.
Fuck.
He's
Oh,
taking
shit.
he's
No,
ruining,
it's
he's
breaking.
ruining the layer.
Control
He's
Z,
ruining
Control
the
Z.
layers. Can't you just duplicate it?
Move
Can't you
the
just
layer
copy?
upwards.
Can't you just like dupe? Just
Oh
copy
yeah, or
paste it.
do
Yeah,
the
but-
other layer. Yeah.
I thought I did this beforehand. What? Okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. It's okay. It's done. Wait. So where does this work now? Wait. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you? Can we put one here above Valiant? Vegas and Valiant kind of are in the same tier, surely.
No, they're not. Valiant's actually way better than them. No, they're not. I think Valiant is a lot better than Vegas currently.
Okay.
I think
If
if
you-
the addition, if they add Rhino, maybe they're like come closer to parity. perhaps.
Okay. Next tier break. There should maybe be one here, kind of.
I think probably the next tier break is New York. I think Shanghai probably clears New York.
No, come on now. Clears New York. Come on.
Viper,
we can put one here,
Hisu,
maybe.
Viper, Hisu, DPS line. Like, I think that's pretty fucking good.
Over Fitz and Shockwave? Come on. It's not that far off.
I think Fitz is like, I think Shockwave is a good player. I think people are really rating Shockwave off of like a lot of playtime we haven't seen.
Yes.
But do you pick Moon or Changun?
Yeah, and also coaching staff. Additionally, on top of that, like I think Fleta has more possibility as Fleta legitimately in my lines out right now. I think Kellen, pretty good Winston player. I think Fleta has the potential to be a far greater tank player than Kellen by the end of the season if it works out perfectly.
Fuck, you might be right. That's
additionally, I do think that the New York support line is better. I do think the New York support line is better. But I think the upsides for Shanghai are. I'd be willing to put them in the same tier, I guess. Maybe put the tier break over.
Yeah,
Shanghai.
I think there should be a tier break there.
Fair
This guy just doesn't believe in Bebe support. You'll see.
Okay. One between Dynasty and Washington, maybe, or no? I guess like 10
that's a little. I think
yeah.
I think all that's pretty flexible. I think it's really that's just the Shanghai New York tier. That's the next separate tier, and I think everything else is fine.
So we're gonna have 2 tier breaks. Is there anything up here?
No, I don't think there should be any tier breaks here at this point.
I think 1 to 9 is fine, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So we have one legitimate tier break and the second one to separate Vegas from the rest of the league.
I don't know. Where would you put it?
No, I would put another tier. No,
I'd
I'd put a tier break above Shanghai. I put a tier break. I'd have the Shanghai New York Valiant tier.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I mean, Guangzhou
right
Shanghai,
now, Guangzhou is just Guangzhou is just an arguably better roster against all those teams at every level. Like, I would not think any of those teams would beat Guangzhou other than maybe Shanghai, like on a good day, which is why they're at the top of it. But like, I just don't think it's gonna happen because I feel like Guangzhou just their roster quality is just better.
So you have your Vegas tier, your low tier, mid tier, and then top tier.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's how I feel. My personal.
I mean,
opinion.
I think this year is so competitive that this might be what we're looking at. I don't think this is silly at all. Like the top 9 could be scrambled so many ways. And I could see it end so many different ways. 10 through 15, so many different ways that could end. So I don't think it's too crazy that like these are legitimate tier breaks. And I think anyone in chat who's like very absolutist, just like this is wrong, this is right. It's like you're dude. This season is so much up in the air. Anything could happen.
If you have a perfect season rankings for I want you to like post your season rankings now. And put them on the blockchain, mint them so they can't be altered, and then post your season rankings at the end. If they're perfect, if they match up, if I can put them in the registry, if I take 3 slurp juices to get enough bored apes to go look at your thing, to visit your blockchain registry, then I think we could be good. And then I'm like, okay, fair enough. I will pay you 300 big titty goth GF coin for that.
There you have it. That's a promise. Okay, yeah. That's the season rankings. They feel all right. They're growing on me. They really are. They feel all right. I could get behind this.
I think we justify them well.
I think we justify them well. I really try to do my due diligence. And so if you think that is crazy, I'm sorry. I think we put a lot of brain power together and made it happen. I have a few more questions to you guys before we change things up here. Most valuable player of the year predictions. Who do we think is winning MVP this year?
Oh God.
We're just going to rattle some predictions.
Let the MVP decider go first. Actually, should we save you for last? Maybe we should save AVRL for last. He's the
all right,
MVP
I'll start off. Okay, I'll start off because I'm going to be boring, but also historic. I think Proper repeats. He's the best player in the league. If Shock are going to be great this season, he's gonna have to fucking carry, and he's gonna have to do the same thing, just like run it back. There are some other candidates that I think could be up there, but their place in the roster is not as solidified, and I don't think they'll be as valuable, quote unquote, valuable to their team. I did flirt with crowning Shu as my MVP. I think if there's a flex support, they will win it again. I think Shu is a very good candidate on Houston Outlaws. I mentioned Lip before. I think Lip is like the far away like favorite hot take, not even hot take, just like the front runner. People seem to be loving to pick Lip this season, but I think Proper run it back. I think that's the most boring, sensible answer. He's the best player in the league, and Shock really needs him to play well. Who wants to go next?
There's so many good.
Kevster is a good shout too, but you know.
God, there's so many different potential narratives you can run here, right? Because like there are so many narratives you can run for the MVP.
So like Hangzhou, for example, like you could say leave or shy, but the fact is both of those players are so fantastic that they're almost like going to take MVP and narrative votes like off each other.
Away
you know?
from each other.
Yeah, exactly. So you almost need like a standout player to be like the sole, not sole carry, but like one single out standout player on your team. So Dallas could be Hanbin, for example. Hanbin, just being like not worried about having to play main tank, and like his off tank performances are just fantastic, and Hanbin carries the Dallas team and like sets them up for success. That could be the case. Kevster for Gladiators, Shu for Houston. Boston Birdring. Okay, that's a stretch, but you get my point.
I was about.
It's not that big of a stretch.
I'm gonna say it. Birdring.
Birdring MVP
or Shu.
It's a good narrative.
Birdring or Shu.
Sims
like
will buy into the Birdring narrative.
I feel like if there's any chance that if Defiant has like a really good run, Hydron's gonna be similar to it, and then Hydron's like a very easy MVP candidate because of that. But like I have two, like my safe bet is I want to put Lip as my safe bet. My unsafe bet.
Damn. Or is that your S&P 500 bet? Holy shit.
That's my S&P 500 bet. My unsafe bet is Dante.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, that's
wow.
That is,
there it is.
Very unsafe. That's,
my unsafe bet is
pharmaceutical.
Dante.
That's
Because I think
that's a main
that
point right there. I'm not saying
Dogecoin
he's a main
comparatively
player,
to
but like
S&P 500.
comparatively, yeah, comparatively. I'm not saying Dante's bad, but comparatively,
I think because
that's
if
pretty
they
hardcore.
make the Dante tank work and they continue to pull out like some interesting novel comps like they did with the Mantra things, and like you do things that you haven't seen and Dante pulls them all off after being a DPS player, I think like that's a pretty clear case. And like they break into like a top 3 of the league situation, like, and they're fighting for like potential championship runs. Like it's like off, like obviously Kevster's in that conversation too. I think it's like you kind of have to make the pick on like who's doing more, but like Dante's the pick simply because like he is the tank player for them and he's done it after making a role swap. And like if they continue to be like novel in their picks, I think the safe bet is Lip. That's who I'm putting it formally for. But my dark horse is Dante, which could be traded for Kevster if like depending on what happens. But I think it's more fun to be Dante because Kevster. I'm being honest, Kevster's probably. I feel like Kevster's gonna be one of those players that's like he should have won an MVP just because he is that good, but he almost never. But he might not ever. But he should have won one probably at some point.
Probably, yeah.
Is Jack on yet?
Birdring or Shu.
Yeah.
I like the Birdring pick. I think that's a fun
Dude.
pick. That's a fun pick.
Oh, it's fun. You pick Birdring.
I like that pick.
Is
I like that
still
pick.
a fucking.
I mean,
beast.
the Boston will live or die off of Birdring based on what we've seen so far. They
Yes,
will live or die based on
exactly.
Birdring
And
now, so.
normally, like, if it's a DPS, normally it's like, well, the other DPS can't really stand up against him. You'd always pick, like, Proper, for example, right? You'd always pick Proper on Shock as a DPS, right? I think on Boston, you'd always fucking pick Birdring. They aren't going to, like, outshine each other, like I think, like AVRL said, leaving shy could potentially just outshine each other, and therefore it doesn't look nearly as good in comparison to like if you're just like the solidly the best fucking DPS or the best player on the team. So I'd say fucking Birdring. But like a non-DPS, Shu, I'd have Shu. He fucking deserves MVP at some point.
I think it's a good narrative, yeah. I think that a lot of people could get behind Shu because he's been historically like the best flex support player almost for like, or top 3 flex support player for like many years in a row now. And as always, like had carry performances. So I think Shu is a great shout. Someone could be a sneaky pick for Florida Mayhem, maybe. If he flexes around a lot, has great performances for Florida. Doing things like we haven't seen a tank player do like on so many different heroes. Maybe someone for Florida Mayhem if they're good. But that's me, Jaws and Avast. AVRL?
Here we go.
What do you
So
got?
first
Time to
thing,
hear the real
first-
MVP.
First thing is a disclaimer, which is to say that the real MVP, like the official tweet from me, doesn't get sent till like sometime in the season, possibly around mid-season. But pre-season, I think the S&P 500 take for me is ready for the salt to flow. It's proper as well.
Oh, he can't do it again. He can't do it again,
Hank,
man.
that doesn't mean I think he's actually going to get it. And let me pull back the curtain of how MVP actually works. This is how MVP actually works, guys. So, first of all, it'll probably be an NA player because everyone's super NA pilled.
What a proper one last year. Wait a second.
No, but in
Yeah,
a
because
team,
people-
in a team pill,
Oh, in a
not
team,
a
okay.
pack. Yeah,
In a
not
team.
like not. They're not meaning
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Not, yeah,
Okay.
that's
All
what I
right,
mean.
yep.
So that's number one. Number two is it's not going to be a support player. Sorry to supports, it won't be one of them. Not flashy enough. Role's not flashy enough. Could be a tank, but it's unlikely to be a tank unless whoever on a tank. I nearly said someone on a tank, but I'd be certain about not talking to the player here. Whoever on a tank needs to be flashy enough for that to be the case. Like you have to have a fearless protagonist storyline. My issue with someone is that because he's on Florida, I don't know that Florida's going to get close enough to winning. And here's the other third piece of the narrative for how MVP works is you don't have to be the best team, you don't have to win, but you have to be among the best teams. You have to float around the top. Chengdu floated around the top. San Francisco floated around the top. Arguably, we're in the top. You don't actually have to be the number one team. You could be the number two, number three team. In fact, you probably have a stronger storyline if you're from the number two, number three team. So this is where proper kind of loses points is if San Francisco are too good and he's on the number one team, and you probably lose points of MVP there. No, I'm not joking. You're actually better off being on number two and number three for MVP. But you have to prove that you are like the standout. So for example, if you want to go down the lip route, Atlanta, if they come second, third, or even if they come like top four and they bow out, but lip just has like god tier performances throughout the entire way and doesn't drop the ball once, and it's maybe clear that other people are the ones dropping the ball in the team. You can be like, well, yeah, Lip's just that good. He's keeping the team. I mean, you have a strong narrative for Lip there. So you do need some good storylines coming through. Sadly, won't be anyone in Hangzhou, even though I think they'd probably be good enough. Again, just NA pill. Won't be anyone in Dallas because NA pill. Sorry, Hanbin. Also, tank. Mostly favored DPS for this award. Kevster, I don't think Glads are going to do good enough this year for Kevster to be in the conversation. I think Glads will be good, but they need to be like they need to be skirting top two like consistently. So it'll probably be proper versus Lip. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Is my is what I think is going to happen, and that's how MVP works, gentlemen.
Well, I'll be seeing you at the Dante MVP coordination.
The state of the art MVP debate right there. He's unlocked the narrative.
I think it would be crazy if Proper got MVP at 2 times in a row because that cements him as like probably. I mean, I think if you get put up an MVP level performance 2 years in a row, I mean that essentially puts you in the category for like the great, like that puts you in the GOAT category. Like that, like obviously Prophet. Well, we currently have Prophet heading out of Overwatch 1 as like the Overwatch 1 GOAT, but like. So far, obviously, we don't know where it's going to go with Overwatch 2, but like putting 2 MVP level performances kind of like locks you into like if that were to occur in that territory. But
yeah,
I still
also
think there's a lot of room for this.
The other rule is it MVP will most likely be decided around mid-season performances.
Yes, yeah, mid-season.
That's
will
when
be
MVP is going to be.
that is the big thing.
Mostly
Mid-season
decided.
will probably be done by so.
So that's probably around when I'll do my official tweet that will actually decide who the
That
MVP
will decide
is.
it. Yes,
Yeah,
you are the
yeah,
taste
around
maker
that time.
in regards to that. Let us know that. Let it be known that others fought against the proper MVP vote, but
yeah.
if you could come up against Avril, the MVP kinger,
The Kingmaker.
the Kingmaker himself.
I had a few questions about your logic, but I won't question it on the podcast, Avro. So, well, I'll just take it word for word, and sure.
Yeah.
Rookie of
You'll
the
never
year.
know. You'll never know if I'm trolling or not either. I'm just saying shit. I'm just
Yeah, you
talking
kind of
out
were
my
saying
ass.
some shit there, but it's all good. It was fun.
sources I made it the fuck up.
Yeah, like yeah, never mind. Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year. Who do we got winning Rookie of the year? This is actually a hard award this year. I think it's a hard award because I think that Max and Junbin will kind of like maybe like trade blows there and like who can come out on top there. You mentioned Bliss on Dallas, for example.
But support won't win it, so you don't have to bring up Bliss.
Probably not. Yeah. So where are we going with this one?
Any other? I'm trying to
Rookie
think
of the
about.
Are there any good
rookies.
DPS rookies? Let's take a look at that because
Sugar
Prophet.
Free.
But like that's
Prophet.
yeah, but I mean like that's not enough for me. Sugar Free is really good, but I don't know
Yeah.
if their team will be good enough to like get up there.
Oh, there's Heesang actually, but you have 3 players on the same team competing for it.
Heesang, yeah.
I mean, Shock has like all the
The only
like,
problem,
crazy
the only problem with
rookies.
Heesang is because he plays next to Proper, everyone will always compare him to Proper, which is not a fair comparison, but it will be the comparison people make, and it will make Heesang look worse in comparison, even though Proper's not even going for the award because he can't. So,
I mean, realistically, the only person, there's only 2 picks for me. It's gonna be someone from the Shock, or maybe I could see Sugar Free. Those are like the only picks in my minds of like rookies that are in contention. We just don't have that many rookies, anyways. Like really, rookies are on really good.
I got it. It's gonna be Shanghai Dragons Viper. He's gonna come out. Dragons will win it.
No, isn't it Viper? Wait, Viper played for Atlanta.
No, you're thinking
that's Venom.
you're
Oh,
thinking
Venom. That's right. Yeah, other V name.
You're like
other V name. You're right.
all the snakes.
Yeah.
Dude, there's too many V's. Oh yeah, that's fair. There is Viper
I think
for
it's.
Atlanta.
I think it's whoever
For-
plays more, whoever gets more game time between Jumbo and Max is my honest take.
I think we're breaking mold, guys. I'm thinking we're breaking mold. I'm going with Bliss for my Rookie of the Year. I think, and my reference point, people were so high on Vindime last year for the Seoul Dynasty that I think this year it's like the comeback time.
Nah, but it's not even
people
close.
who were Vindime voters
It
last
still
year, they're
wasn't
gonna be
even
like
close.
Bliss. Bliss is my Rookie of the Year.
But the Vindime vote didn't even make it close. Like Vindime didn't even get close to winning it.
Yeah, but the narrative was strong. The narrative was
But also
growing,
but
and
then
now we're
it
heading
won't-
to a fucking like
There
parabolic
was a
peak.
chance if Dallas was still in an A. I think I agree. There was a chance that if Bliss is that good, maybe. But like they're not in A anymore. Like,
He would have to be outstanding, and he would have
it
he
to.
would have
doesn't
to be
matter.
he would have to
visibly-
be the best main sport player that's ever touched the
No,
game.
no, not even just best main support player. He would have to visibly look more impactful than the other roles, which is super hard to do on
It's
his
just
position.
hard to do. Yeah, it's just I think it's got to be someone from the Shock, or maybe there is a chance that Sugar Free could do it. I think those are the only picks. Someone
I
from
think
Shock or maybe-
Vancouver won't do well enough.
What
The
about,
problem is Vancouver won't have good enough results for it, whereas Shock will.
Yeah. What about Bubble?
Bob
He's not a
L?
rookie.
He's not a rookie.
He's not a
He
rookie.
played for
Yeah.
London.
Oh, he
in
played for
APAC.
fucking London.
Yeah.
Oh my
Everyone
God,
forgets
I
it because
forgot.
everyone forgot about the London and APAC. Everyone has forgotten about that team. But he unfortunately he is not a rookie.
You could go
So-
Donghak, but I don't think he's.
I don't think
No,
Donghak
versatile
he's
is
enough,
barely
flexible
gonna play,
enough,
bro.
yeah.
He's
That
not gonna
guy's
put
not
up
going to
a
get
big-
any game time.
He's also I don't
He'll
think
get
he'll
game
put up
time,
a
but,
MVP
you know,
performance.
I
Only
don't
in
think you
ball
can get
matters.
the award as like your ball / Winston player.
He's not. It's going to have to be a starting player. I don't think it's going to go to a sub, which is why I'm saying
Yeah,
between
probably
Max and
right.
Jumbin, the player that has more game time will more likely get it.
Okay, I'm going Bliss. You guys haven't made said an answer for yourselves. You haven't.
That's fine.
Made a
I don't know
prediction?
who's going to get more game
I
time.
don't know.
Between I think Jumbin is
fucking
maybe
cowards.
the higher. I think Jumbin is. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Jumbin because I think I don't know. His peaks are maybe higher. Oh, for fuck's sake, they're both
I'll
really
pick
good.
Max
Though.
then. If you pick Jump, I'll pick Max. We'll just fucking scattergun.
Avast, make a
You
pick.
want to talk about vibes? I think I got better vibes from Jumbin. How about that?
There you go.
I'll pick Heesang.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, we picked
This
3
is
Shock players and
Max.
Bliss from Dallas. There you go.
Dude, they got all the support. They have all the rookies though.
They do,
They have
they
all
do.
the rookies.
They have all the
No
best
one
rookies.
else has rookies other than Vancouver. That's
Yeah.
and Dynasty really that are like eligible even. And like it's pretty much it's gonna be someone from Shock or Sugar Free. That is my prediction. It's gonna be someone from Shock or Sugar Free.
Right.
It's literally gonna be one of those two.
And finally, Coach of the Year. I think there are a few candidates here. I mean, Krusty, of course, Gator for Atlanta, Roy for Heinz Spark, Rush again, Smash. Dude, an assistant coach is not going to win it.
If Spark do well, I think Ray's got a good shot.
I think so too. I think
Real
Ray has
talk.
a good chance if Heinz
Ray-
plays top 3.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, my vote is for Ray.
Or Gunba, if Gunba finishes top 5 as we
That's
just
true.
said.
If Florida,
Nah,
really
Gumba,
pull it through.
I just don't think it's gonna happen because unfortunately, like they're just not a big enough fan base for me.
Probably.
Like compared to the other teams, they don't have enough push.
Ray has a lot of
So-
like... most of the APAC voters will just go for Ray, surely.
Yeah,
If
all
they play
APAC
this good, so...
And all the diaspora of like the Chinese Overwatch community will all vote Ray.
and you can only pick one pink team. So I'm sorry, Florida, but
I think,
I think
I'm voting Ray.
if Gator makes this Atlanta roster work, I think Gator would earn my. Like I think because this roster is amazing, but there's clear holes that need to be fixed in like the tank line and also like communicate and like how does it all come together, right? I think if Gator makes it work, but the thing is I'm hesitant about it as someone that actually does like Gator is that like I don't know how much credit I can even give him without like a lot of behind the scenes transparency, right? Because of the fact that like this, you could put any person in the earth as like give them the head coach title and just don't actually do any coaching for this team and it'd probably still do really well. So like I literally don't know. That's the biggest problem. Is like I still don't know what the transparency level is going to be when you have a roster that size. I think
that could be said about former winners as well, but you know
that could be. Except I do think that like Atlanta in this case has a much clearer win condition for the head coach of the year because if their tank line has a clear like how do we like what's this rotation going to be? Like, what's this? Like, how are we going to make this factor in? How are we going to do our subs between maps, like between playing Vigilante and Fielder or playing Shielder or Fielder based off like what depending on the meta? But like, there are some very clear coaching win conditions here for a coach of the year, especially like one that's a Western coach coaching a mostly Korean squad. So like, that would be my pick if they make it work.
If somebody just takes a team that is mad underrated and makes them do reasonably well, they can go the Christopher route.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah.
And like, for example, we all think Shanghai is going to be bad, and then Flatank is just insane. It's like, oh, Moon, it's got to be Moon again.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, no, the Toronto coaching staff, like if they punch up into the top 3 position when
very
like,
true.
I think that Kasaurus and such is like definitely a good
Kasaurus
call.
might be an interesting one.
I can tell you the lock-in. I'll give you one lock-in right now. This one's coming from way out of left field. This is the lottery pick right here. This is if you want to win the jackpot. Vegas at least 13th, and then Empress wins.
Not happening. It's not happening.
That's why I said it's a lottery. I said it's a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Literally
because
worse odds
also
than
you're
Mega Millions.
also on top of that, like I mean that's legitimately you should go if you somehow get that right, you should be buying Powerball tickets.
Because Vegas is so lowly rated that it doesn't take much to like it might take a bit for them, but you know what I'm saying? It's like the bar is not super high for them to clear if they can clear it this season.
If you force me to pick an upset team that will like do way better than we have them in the rankings, I think it'd either be Toronto or Washington. So like if Get Amazed does it again and Washington competes with like Houston, Glads, stuff like that, maybe Get Amazed. But I'm going with Roy for the Hangzhou Spark. AVRL, who do you got?
I'll go Hangzhou Spark as well, Ray.
Okay. Jaws, who do you got? That's your Coach of the Year prediction.
Ray.
Okay. And Avast?
You know what? I've been vibing them too hard. I'm gonna give it to Gator. I'll give it to Gator.
With bad vibes, and then you're like, oh fuck it, I'll give it to Gator. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could. Yeah, I'll just give it to Gator. But like, I just don't. The problem is the coaching thing this year. My real pick is like because I just don't have like a clear sense of. But I'll give it to Gator. Yeah, I'll just give it to Gator. Yeah, fuck it.
Okay. There you have it. Our season rankings, our award predictions, MVP, Rookie of the Year, or Coach. Was one hell of an episode. Thank you guys for bringing your takes, for bringing your insight, knowledge to make us craft this list that everyone can now criticize and spread.
Dude, we are gonna get so much shit.
I cannot wait to see the comments about people getting upset about
the
magic and vibes.
The shock takes are gonna like literally people.
It will
are
set
be
Reddit
so
on fire.
Mad.
How
like
about
I'm actually like gonna be. I can't wait to see it because like it's.
I'm gonna be there. I will be there no matter what. It's the NBA.
I will be there no matter what. And honestly, you know, like the problem is like I'm gonna be completely real with you. I don't even stand by just my final close out. I don't even stand by this list that heavily because I don't know.
My list is gonna be different.
This like yeah, I mean, my list will probably be
Atlanta
different.
on top. So.
My list will probably be slightly different than this, but like at the same time, like.
It's funny.
If you have to, this is guessing. We are guessing. This is literal, like we're being informed guessing, but like this is the one year where I'm like, yeah, you can guess. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like, fair enough. Like, why not? So, I don't think anyone should be. But at the same time, I do want to see the hate. I want to see what the memes come up with. I can't wait to see what the new variations of the Shock Dick Rider memes happen. I think it's gonna be really funny.
I still don't have my jersey yet. How do I get one? Like. It's still on the way. Like a month.
Sounds like you didn't ride hard enough, pal.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to ride harder. I need to get my jersey. Shit.
How about this? Next week, we're bringing back worst take of the week, and we'll review some of the comments, some of the feedback on the rankings, and we'll see who has the most downvoted comments on Reddit. So Reddit mods, if there's no, as long as it's not hateful, please don't delete the comments because I need to screenshot them and use them for the show. So there we go. All right.
And if you think this is really shit, tell us who you think the top whatever is.
Exactly. Please. Yeah. Put your fucking skin in the game. All right. Like we're doing here. Okay. We're showing our unfiltered opinions for 2.5 hours here. We're putting ourselves on the line. This is hard work. Anyway, no, it's not hard work. Anyway, Before we go, Brent's Player of the Week. We have to crown a Brent's Player of the Week. We do it every week. Who we got for Brent's Player of the Week?
I am choosing at Owl Opinions Twitter.
Fuck no.
Why?
Never. In the history of the show will I ever give it to Owl Opinions.
No way, bro.
What is Owl? I don't even know. What is Owl? Is that like that Twitter account that just tweets random anonymous opinions?
It's what's in my background.
It's so fucking dumb.
But it's not the account itself. Isn't it just tweeting random opinions?
I have no idea.
From people submit to them.
Yeah.
Or is it
so
someone
it's
making
stupid.
their own?
It's literally
opinions?
worse than Reddit because it's anonymous.
I mean, I kind of like it though. I think I like Owl opinions because
it's not happening.
I enjoy it for a conversation generator because it's just like someone just it's literally just people throwing random shit out, you know?
Yeah, I mean it is funny.
I don't think I feel like it's funny.
No, it's not happening. I'm not.
How
we're not
about
getting it.
Brent's Play of the Week is Chengdu Hunters.
What about Brent's Player of the Week being Brennon Wyatt for surviving a car crash?
Oh yeah.
How about that? How
Hey,
How
about
about,
let's
how
do
about
that,
them
yeah.
surviving a
They
horrible
survived a
car
fucking
accident?
head-on fucking car crash.
Well,
in
it was
LA.
it was
There you go.
a sidecar
Wasn't it?
crash, but still,
Yeah,
yes.
a
yeah,
T-bone
but
of
still,
sorts.
a fucking car crash.
Wait, who
Yeah.
won the Life Weaver Invitational?
Not the team with proper, but let's
Not
see.
the proper J3 DPS
forever
duo.
second.
Holy shit.
But yeah, Brennan Wyatt, they got in a car crash. You can go check out their Twitters. They posted about it. So yeah, let's just give it to Brennan Wyatt and just call it
Team
the end of the day.
SK.
I don't want to get into it too much.
I can't remember Team SK's team, but it was SK's team.
Good job. You sucked less on Lifeweaver. Great stuff. Okay. You
I tried, but
you played
we'll-
versus less
Character's not
Sombra.
that good, let's be real.
Yeah.
Is this the first time Bren's got his own award?
I don't think so. Probably
No
not.
way.
I
This
would
probably
guess
the first time
not.
he got his award
Probably
for
not.
this is probably his first time getting the award for massive physical trauma.
Yeah, probably for getting injured. That's the first time Bren's
Yeah.
getting it. Yeah. All right, Bren and Wyatt to be clarified. Bren and Wyatt are Bren's Players of the Week.
Oh.
Plat Chat episode 74. It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for this week. We'll see you next week for a week 1 preview. We'll talk about the matchups. We'll talk about Chengdu Hunters and everything that means and what we can talk about that's public. All that good stuff. We'll see you next week. Thank you for this week's episode, guys.
Woohoo.
Goodbye.